Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pan-African Alliance, and we will just hold on for a little few minutes to see if we can get one more or three people on the live stream so we can talk about these Negropeans, this quest of Africans who want to be politicians in Europe. They really want to be politicians in the European Parliament, despite the constant discrimination, racism, and hate. They keep that, they sweep that under the carpet, and they actually think they can be accepted as Africans in the European Parliament. We're going to talk about a couple of them, and we're going to say what is wrong with that, and why should that not be really encouraged. And we're going to talk about it, and we're going to have your opinions and see if it's of any good to the African people and the continent at large. Let's wait to see if we can get some few more people on the stream. Thank you.
Milongi mi pule avion
All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to the Pan African Alliance. Today, guys, we will be analyzing uh, Africans in European parliament, Africans in the white man's parliament, Africans who really believe they are so good in politics that they actually want to go to European Parliament and make law for the European people. You know, these people they always like face some they always face like racism, hate, and discrimination, but for some reason they still think that is the right thing to do. Recently there have been a quite a good numbers of Africans, and these are not even Africans born in those European countries. Most of them are migrants, for the most part. Most of them are migrants, but there have been some really few ones who were born in those countries who actually want to be politicians in those countries. And for some reason, whatever they do, people don't appreciate them, people don't like them, they do disgusting things to them, but they still want to be politicians in those countries. So my question is, if you are really good in politics, why don't you go to your home countries and fix it? What is the need for you staying in a country that you're not appreciated? You know, no matter what you do, they will never put your name in like the Hall of Fames, in the Hall of Fame as one of those great politicians who actually changed the country. And for the most part, sometimes these guys even go to the extent of being part of far right movement. People who are against immigrants, and some of them are immigrants themselves, and they do that to like bash their own people. They do that to immigrants who are trying to come to these European countries. So this is some kind of I don't know, black legs, some kind of coons that they use as an instrument to do the white man's job for them, the dirty job for the white man. The European have been doing this strategy for a long time. They've been implemented this kind of way to make it easier for them to control Africans without even coming to Africa. And they found out that bringing or like introducing these Africans, these integrationists, these Negropeans who actually want to be part of their parliament, it's going to make it easy for them to control these people without even going to the parliament, without working like directly with their countries. And we're going to take a look at some of these people and look some articles how they've been treated, and we're going to ask ourselves this question: what is the need? Why are they still there? Are they doing that for their own personal reason, or they're actually doing that, for Africans? And I think we all know about Bilongo, you know, the the French parliamentarian or the French member of parliament that was asked to go back to Africa by French far right politicians. And this is the question that some people that I ask: well, is it right? Is it really right, or is it wrong what this guy said? Maybe they say he's racist, but actually, if we look the history, who's Bilongo, Carlos Martin Bilongo. Bilongo is a Congolese. He's from Congo. I think he's Congo and Angolan. One of his parents is Congo, and the other one is from Angola. So I don't really know which one, but we see how Congo functions. We see how Congo works. If actually Bilongo wants to do politics, why does he not go to Congo and try to fix things over there? That's the question. Let's listen to this and see what has been said. Um, what has been said despite what happened. So let's listen to this short stream from France 24.
Chaos in France's National Assembly, forcing the President of Parliament's lower house to make this tough decision.
Je vous propose de suspendre la séance de questions au gouvernement.
Just minutes before the session was going on as it normally does, until a remark thought to be racist was shouted out while an MP from the leftist France Unbowed party asked a question about migrants on an ocean Viking ship.
Okay, so this guy said retourner en Afrique. It's in French, and Bilongo response pas du tout. It means not yet. Okay, so let's continue watching.
The outburst triggers outcry from Carlos Martins Bilongo's fellow party members. They chant for Grégoire de Fournas, an MP from the far-right National Rally who made the comment, to leave. But what exactly was said? According to the France Unbowed party, de Fournas shouted, "Go back to Africa." They say the remark was a direct and racist attack on the black MP.
When we talk about people with my skin color, those who are darker or who have a complexion.
Okay, guys, it really like it's really funny. You know, it's really funny if when I see this, like these Africans who are trying to fight racism in European in Europeans country, you know, they actually think these people really believe them. You know, there's this crowd there. This is the question. That crowd, do you really think they really don't think like the other MP that sat and said go back to Africa? I think most of them, when they look at him, they think the same thing. You know, they may not just have the courage to say things like that, but they actually do believe the same. You know, for the most part. You know, why can't you go to your country and make things work? Why do you want to come to this parliament that or this institution or this part of the world that everything is working, you know, has been well established, and trying to tell us what to do? You can go back to your country and fix things. I don't think that is wrong. You know, if he is taking it that if he sees that as being racist, you know, or I don't know, discrimination, I think he's the one here that is not actually being honest himself. You know, he should not create all this dramatization on the television and trying to make this guy look racist. Because if you ask me personally, I think he should do the same. Looking at Bilongo, Bilongo is young, you know, it's like a young man, and these are the kind of politicians we really need in Africa. I will applaud him, you know, for his interest of being a politician in France. So we at the PAA, we really want young people like this to be part of politics in Africa. But being in the European, in Western Parliament, we consider that as being a misplaced priority. So I would not really think these guys or these French people were really hard on Bilongo. I think Bilongo should really come to the realization that he's in the wrong place, and being there to do politics is just going to make it worse. You're never going to be respected just because of who you are, and you should take pride to being an African. And when they say go back to Africa, you should say, yeah, I'm going to go back to Africa, and that's what we should be doing. You know, we should come back to Africa and try to build it, you know, under the PAA constitution and PA conglomerate, and let's so we can get away from all this shame and discrimination, whatever that happens in the European Parliament. Let's hear what they say. We're gonna look another one. We're gonna watch another parliamentarian. Um, yeah, so just play it again.
Each time we refer to our skin color, we're told to go to Africa.
It's accusations that have been fervently denied by de Fournas, who argues that what he actually said was they should go back to Africa.
When I said they should return to Africa, I wasn't talking about the MP. I was talking about the boat that is transporting migrants. Let's be very clear. The France Unbowed party is trying to manipulate and distort my words.
Well, okay, he said that, but we're not really sure if that's what he meant. If he meant he was talking about the boats full of African migrants going to Africa, or he was actually talking to Bilongo directly. I think it was both. He was actually talking to Bilongo and those coming on the boats. And yeah, that's what I thought he was actually doing.
Session of Parliament, the French Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne gave her reaction.
Racism has no place in our democracy.
Members of President Emmanuel Macron's Renaissance Party are refusing to attend parliamentary sessions until De Fauna is sanctioned, while the left-wing France Unbowed Party say he should be expelled. A meeting will be held Friday.
Okay, this is interesting. The parliament has been suspended because they want to fight for Bilongo or whatever. But yeah, so I don't really believe in all this parliament being suspended for Bilongo. I think it's just a way of manipulation and control. Try to make these people feel welcome so that they can use them as an instrument to go back in their country and uh, and exploit them. So let's look about the other one, the Congolese woman. I think she's called Cecile. So just give me one moment. Let's see. All right. So good. So that's this another one. I think if you don't know about this woman, she was the first black MP, in in Italy. She was actually a minister. She's called Cecile Kinje. She's from Congo, and she went through a lot. She had banana peelings being thrown at her. People coming in the parliament with all kind of spray, tell her she stinks, that she does not belong in Italy, but still she was trying to be part of Italian parliament. Minister of integration. Who are you integrating with? This is some kind of misplaced priority that these African politicians, not I don't know if they're actually politicians or African integrationists or Negropeans. They think they want to integrate. You can't integrate where you're at the bottom. Before you integrate, you should meet up at a certain standard so that you can be speaking the same language. But you can integrate with someone that is far ahead of you. This is the misplaced priority. Let's hear what she says, and we're going to read some articles. I hope she speaks in English. I don't know. Let's see.
Of Italian life. Originally from the Congo, this Italian-trained doctor has lived in Italy for the last 30 years. Kienge has Italian citizenship, an Italian husband, and two
Yeah. It's always the case. Most of these people, they always get married to Europeans. Yeah, so that's not uncommon. We know that already.
Italian-born children.
Yep.
But that's not Italian enough for one member of the European Parliament, Mario Borghezio, of the right-wing Northern League Party, who said in a radio interview that Kienge would bring African tribal customs to Italy and open the gates to, in his words, all of the world's tribes to freeload off the welfare state.
Well, I don't know what to say about that, but he definitely does not like her. We know this guy, he is is the biggest problem to Cecile. He's the ones that come with all kind of spray in the Italian parliament, trying to ridicule her for her to go away. And well, I don't really blame them. I don't want to sound bad, but these Africans, come on, come on, we can do better. Why do you put yourself through this stress? Why don't you sit and organize yourself better and build a better Africa so that we don't need to go through this shame and disgrace and humiliation, or what they say, but still you still want to be in this parliament. I don't know what you're going through. Let's listen more to what they got to say, what she's going to say.
He's been roundly condemned even by some members of his own party, but racism and xenophobia aren't unknown here. Italian soccer has been marred in recent years by fans who frequently throw racist taunts at black players.
Yeah, this is a thing. This is another thing. This is another thing. All this racism, in football, it's been accepted. It's like it's been accepted, in the racist world. But still, I don't understand why these people keep just doing the same thing. If you're gonna get booed, okay, you're gonna get booed, and you're gonna be racially um, uh, you're gonna be like racially profiled because you're playing for this European Parliament football teams or whatever. If you know that's what you, if you know that's what you want to do, well, just keep doing it and stop complaining. Because if we cannot build our own football association, whatever, make the continent the place we want it to be. We don't need to come to these European countries and start complaining about racism, because at the end of the day, they don't want you to be there anyway. They didn't force you to be there. That's your choice. So there's no need for you coming and start complaining that they don't treat you well. So let's see what's happening.
Outside the stadium, blatant public racism is rare, but some attitudes smack of intolerance.
Bisogna anche rispettare il paese che ti ospita.
The country that hosts you should be respected, says Fabrizio, a businessman. You can maintain your culture in your own country, but you can't impose it on others.
Cosa positiva? Senza dubbio.
For decades, Italy really didn't have to deal with the issues of immigration. Back in 1990, immigrants made up only 2% of the population. Now that number has more than tripled. The church-based community of Sant'Egidio offers Italian language classes for immigrants.
Yeah, this is it. Let's see if we can get some articles that they talk about CC. Yeah, okay. You can see this is from CNN. They say, that's it. Bananas thrown at Italian's first black minister, Cecile Kinge, and she still wants to be the president of to be a minister in Italy. Well, I think that's just due to lack of shame or whatever. And again, so we're gonna talk about the latest one, the latest this one. This is another Nigerian one. Okay, they call him Tony was it Chike? Yeah, Tony Chike is Nigerian. And what makes him really, really stupid is he's a member, a parliamentarian of the far right racist party. Okay, that makes it a little bit confusing. He's a member of far right racist party. Like it's a racist party. They consider them to be racist or nationalists or whatever. And they're using him to do his dirty work. So look at these people over here. Sorry, I think I was not showing that. Yeah, look at these people over here. So they are actually laughing at him. Okay, but he actually thinks they really like him. Okay, that's what he thinks. He thinks they actually like him. So if you see his signs, he says, "Stop invasione, prima la nostra gente." What that means, he's saying, let's stop all these invasions. The invasion is talking about the Africans coming on board. He said, we need to stop them. Prima la nostra gente. First our people. First our people. According to him, his people are Italians. Okay. So this guy said so many horrible things about black people in Africa, in Italy, until it caught the attention of Mario Balotelli. And Mario, let's see if I can get that. Mario Balotelli had to call him out. And if you can see, he attacked him. He told him, do you know what? Just remember, you are black. Okay, just remember you're black. So if you start making all those statements, just remember you're black. Yeah. So the idea is, if you're so good in politics, you're from Nigeria. I think Nigeria needs better politicians. Italy don't need you. They can sort out themselves. Why are you in Italy trying to make politics for them? Trying to shit on your own African people. I don't see what's the point in that, But what even makes it worse, people like these Negropeans, the West can use them as an instrument to continue their uninterrupted exploitation of Africans, because it'll be easy. They can use this guy to go to Nigeria and talk and tell him and tell what was that? And tell the Nigerian government, well, this is one of you. He's Italian. You know, you can trust him. You can use him to make whatever this business it is. But this guy, so whatever he's going to do in Nigeria, it's not out of his own reasoning. He would just be a puppet that is being used by the Italian government. So I don't know if I can get some more information about him. Let me see. Okay, and yeah, okay. Let's see this. Yeah, talking about him, of course, he's married to an Italian. You know, he's married to an Italian himself, and of course, we know these people. They always you have to be that. And just talking about using him as an instrument to continue the uninterrupted exploitation of Africa. Look at him with Buhari. So, do you think this guy coming to speak with Buhari, he's speaking on behalf of Nigeria or black people? He's speaking on behalf of what's that? Of Italy, and he is just going to regurgitate what they ask him to do. So it's really, really important that people that are part something and part something, we should watch out for them, you know, because we as PPA, the PAA, we're gonna put a lot of emphasis on these Negropeans. No, that want to be one thing or another thing, you know. So he's going in Italy as a personal person. You should stay Italian. You can't be Italian and African at the same times. Yeah. So that's it. So let's see what if we have any person here. We have some 4 people. Okay. Hello, Nigerian Prince. Yeah, that's your Nigerian. That's your Nigerian. I don't know, minister or whatever, who's in charge of Italians. He's a parliamentarian in Italian, Italian parliament, and he is a far right politician. That makes no sense. He is an anti-immigrant politician in Italy, and so yeah, so that's what we're talking about here. All these Africans who really want to be politicians in African country, in European countries, despite racism or whatever. And yeah, so we need to take care of this kind of people. If you want to be a politician, go to Nigeria. Nigeria needs you. Stop ridiculing yourself in the West. And there's so many of them. And this another one. Let's see if I can see this other one as well. Okay, this is another coon. Sorry, calling him coon. Yeah, this one is from Senegal, and he's Senegalese-born chairman. Okay, did I share him? Let's see. Okay, yeah, yeah. Just give me a moment so I'll get on the same page. Yeah, this is the German parliamentarian from Senegal. Okay, this guy, yeah, he's a coon definitely. Okay, he is was it? Yeah, he's a German first African-born MP. Yeah, he's faced racism, all kind of thing, bananas thrown at him, talking shit about him, but still he still wants to be a parliamentarian in Germany. I don't know what's going on in these people's mind. I don't know why they think they can be parliamentarians or politician in these European countries. I don't know if they really think they can make any change. They're just being used as instrument by these people to show to the world, you know what, we are not racist. We have Africans, in a parliament. We are good people. And these are the people that they use to fool the world that everything is okay. We don't need people like this in the PAA. If you want to be German, be German. Don't say you're Senegalese. So we need to actually be in a position where we can tell these people, you don't represent us, you represent yourself. No one needs you to talk for black people in the West, because at the end of the day, we have a home that we need to fix. Let's see if they get something about him. Let's try to play this little video here. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, he's running for election. Oh my God. Okay. How can you beat racism? So you leave Africa. This is the thing, guys. You leave Africa and go to the West to fight racism. You actually leave Africa going to the West to fight racism. I don't know how that is possible. You actually went to the mouth of the beast to fight them. You want to be an election, but you want to fight racism. I wish him good luck. Let's see again what's going to happen. Let's finish the video. Okay. He's even faced death threat. Faced death threat and hate speech, but still he's not giving up. I'm gonna change Germany. I'm the African, I don't know, the new version of Martin Luther King in Germany that's gonna make Germany a black country. I don't know what he's thinking in his head. Okay, and there's the thing. Most of these people they even face racism and discrimination from their own political from the members of parliament, from their own party as well. They don't just face racism from other parties. They do face it from their own members in their parliament. But still, they still sit there, having a tough skin, trying to prove what I don't know. Let's listen. Yeah, he said he was ridiculed for not looking German. Well, I don't know if that is something we need to tell him. Of course, he don't look German, and yeah, that's just the truth. Accept it.
Je ne me laisse pas intimider par qui que ce soit. Notre constitution permet la liberté d'opinion, mais quand même la dignité des personnes, de la personne, ça aussi c'est marqué dans la constitution de l'Allemagne.
Oh my God. So now he's going to sue the National Democrats for their comments. I guess the comment should be that of racism. What nerve. That was quite interesting. Yeah. So guys, what do you think, about these guys? Is there a need for Africans, to be members in the political parties in European countries? Because this is just so ridiculous. No, I'm not gonna lie. It just is some kind of I think they're just laughing stock, because you and me, we know these people can represent anything. They're just there like for mirage, for these various European countries to use them as a tool to get access to these poor African countries. They're gonna say, do you know what? We have one of your brothers that is member in the parliament, so we're not that bad. So what will you really think if you see one of these people? What will you really think if you see like a German in your parliament? And he's gonna say, well, you can argue why do you say a German can be in your parliament? We have someone from your country in the parliament. You're the racist one, but we all know when it comes to exploitation, they can exploit us more than we can do. So let's just look at one more. And this one, I really applaud him because he's young. He's from he's from Ivory Coast. Yeah, we've got all the West Africans now. Yeah, all the West Africans want to take over European Parliament. So let's see this. It's called Abubakar. Was yeah. This the other one. Abubakar Somahuru. He's from Ivory Coast. He's the latest one in the Italian Parliament. He's quite young. I like him. These are the kind of young people we need in Africa. I think he's 1980. He should be 42 years. He's energetic, but still, he's going into the Italian Parliament trying to create change. What changed? This is misplaced priorities. If you really want to be a politician, you should join the PAA and let's fight this beast, this ancient political system that has been placed upon us. I personally was trying to contact to contact Abubakar, because I really need to talk with him. I really need to talk with him. This is Facebook page. You can see him. He's been having some talks. He worked he worked in one of those famous Italian farms, but he came to Italy as a student. But this, you can't do anything in Italy. Italy is a country that is ruled, is controlled by mafia. They're the Italians themselves. They can't do nothing. But you're wasting your time, in these European countries trying to fix them. You understand? So, what do you guys really think about these Africans? Uh, being part of the European Parliament, because to me it's a waste of time and it's just distraction for us to actually see what's going on. Like, actually, yeah, this is Bilongo. This Bilongo that was told go back to Africa. Yeah, Bilongo is actually dressed like a Frenchman. I think Bilongo believes he's French, and you can't tell him he's not French. So when the guy told him go back to Africa, Bilongo says, I'm not African, that I'm French. Yeah. He has his French little thing, I don't know how that's called, on his neck. He feels like French. But Bilongo actually, he's Congolese and Angola. Both, yeah. One of his parents is, yeah. So the link has been dropped, man. If anyone has got something to say about this Negropeans that want to be Europeans, want to fight for politics in Europe, you can come and let's share if what they're doing is good, if it has any advantages for us Africans, for us Africans in the West, or this is just actually some mirage, some delusional people who actually think they can make African better. Yes, Nigerian prince, yeah, they're not Africans, but this is the issue. They want to represent Africa. If these people go back to their countries, they will be considered as African, but they're just like brainwashed Africans. They're like empty vessels that the West has to fill them with some kind of weight or intelligence to tell them exactly what they want to say. Yeah. So if you have anything to say, and you can let me know. And if in your country, especially in the West, America is a little bit different, because in America they come a long way, but in Europe it is quite interesting that you have these Africans, want to be politicians, and they abandoned your own continent, where we need politicians like this more than anything. And yeah, some of these people. Let's see. Let's go and check this guy. Um, yeah. So let's see. Okay, this is the guy from Germany. Okay, and that's his, of course, that's his wife. The Senegalese guy that wants to change Germany. That's the wife. He's got his Becky there. Don't know. You can be exactly. You can be whoever you want to be, but just know, if you're going to represent your country in the European Parliament, you should know that this is not what your country it's what you need. You should be back in your country trying to help your local, I don't know, constituency, your local constituencies, or your political establishment to actually build, because no one is going to respect you. You might have this enthusiasm, this political will to change something, but you should come back, so you should come back to your home countries and change things. Sorry, I didn't see you guys here.
Hey, what's up, Kifaro?
Yeah, Habibi. Yeah, what's up? Thanks for coming, man. Thanks for coming. Yeah,
It's all good, all good.
yeah. So, what do you think about these Afropeans? These Negropeans.
Something's wrong with these people, man.
Yeah.
Kifaru, you said the Italian guy, he only
Yeah.
came to Italy for university, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So technically, he's only been in Italy. How old is he now?
He's 40. That's the thing. He's 42 years. They're not even born in Italy. These people came from Africa.
Kifaru, not only are they not born in Italy, he came to Italy already an adult, a legal adult.
Yes.
Like, Kifaru, do you realize how sick this guy is? This guy's sick.
Exactly.
He's delusional.
Exactly.
Kifaru, I don't even feel like I would feel out of place even running for office in South Africa or in Eswatini. And I came here when I was seven turning 8. Imagine how delusional you have to be coming to a country at 19 thinking they should change stuff for you.
Nah, that guy is German, so I don't know why you guys are worried about them. They are lost cause. Just give up.
So what's going in your head? Do you really think they're coming to change things in this country?
No, Kifaru. There are people that hate
They
being
did it
black,
to
right?
make money, bro.
Nah, yeah, to make money, but some of them don't like the fact that they're black or African. So they crave that white acceptance. They always want to, oh, Mr. White Man, see me, I'm working hard. Why won't you like me? So it's just that mindset.
Kifaru, what's your life goal?
What?
Whatever your life goal is, just imagine your life goal being getting acceptance from the white man.
Yeah,
because that's what these people's life goal is.
Exactly.
That's why they put up with all that racism and they say, oh, they're not so bad. Oh, they brought us education. They always make excuses for them. When they kill them, oh, maybe the black guy was doing something wrong first. They always take the side of the master. It's like the house Negro and the field slave, Oh, master gave us extra meat today, so it's not that bad. But you're a slave. Oh, no. He only gave me two strokes of cane. Usually he beats me 6 times. They try to cope with that. It's sad, though.
I tell you, these people really have it. They have it bad. They have it. But I don't know what's going on in your head. But if you look at Bilongo, this one here is from Congo.
Look at him there. Look how out of place he looks.
But you know that when they tell Bilongo, go back to Africa, Bilongo Sepa they do. Foundational black Frenchman. Bilongo think is white man. Look at him.
Well, look at him. See how proud. See how proud he's looking with his chest out and shoulder. And you can tell.
This is
look
his
at the
life
other
goal
white
achieved.
woman in the back. Look at the white people at the back. Like, who is this nigga up here? Like,
Even if you watch the parliament, when they were sanctioning the parliament, it just looks so wrong because we know that they're just trying to create a mirage. No one cares because most of those people in that parliament, they will think the same thing. Because if I look at
they all
Congo,
think
where
it.
they come from.
But Kifaru, not only do they think it, they're right. They are right. This guy's not Italian or French. None of these people are Europeans, man.
Well, but are they really Europeans? The thing is that the Europeans don't accept them as Europeans. It's delusional.
They are people without a land.
Yeah, it's tokenization. So it's like, oh, we're not so racist, or we have a black parliament, even though he has no say, no power. It's tokenization. So they can to make it look like they're progressive, like, oh, like the way they hire people and they just put one black person to make it seem like, oh, we didn't hire all white
Kifaru,
people.
have you ever tried to talk to the guy? You're both in Italy. Have you ever?
Yeah, I tried to contact him, but all this political party bureaucracy, and but I will try again. I will try to talk to him. I want to introduce him to the PAA. So because he's young, those are the kind of people. At least he's got some experience.
Kifaru, that guy's a lost hope, man. If he's crying about a white person telling him he's not European,
yeah,
he's a lost hope.
You think he's coming? You think he's coming to the trenches in Cameroon to do any type of march or any type of like movement? Don't waste your time. Those guys are gone.
Yeah, because they're just being used like, no, this is another coon that wants to change Germany and he has to fight racism. You leave Africa and come to Germany to fight racism. What?
Imagine.
What? Like, what
Just
are you
imagine.
thinking?
No,
What are you
just
thinking
imagine.
to go fight with them? I don't know,
It's
So
the hypocrisy, You know, imagine if a white person comes to Africa and tries to teach us how to live, we'll be all. But you're not doing the same thing to them, trying to go there and teach them how to live. The fact that they even let you in their country, first of all, so like you should be grateful.
It's them being nice.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
being nice.
Like,
You know, you can
look,
become a citizen and stuff.
whatever. Kifaru, have you ever heard me complain about xenophobia here in South Africa? Even though you guys complain, I'm just grateful that I'm even here. Like, whatever I get, I get. The fact that letting me live in this country, I'm grateful, bro. I'm not complaining. But these people go all the way to Europe, not even in Africa, all the way to Europe. And the first thing they do is start complaining about racism. This is crazy. Like, last time I checked, there's no,
exactly. It makes no
they
sense
didn't,
to me at
they
all.
didn't prevent them from going back to Africa. Like, they're not border patrolling Africans leaving Europe, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look, this is the other guy, and this one was because he's a member of the far right party.
That guy,
And
he
yeah, he
he'll
says
probably
he's
be
gonna he says he's
he'll
gonna
probably be
deport all illegal immigrants.
he'll probably be southeast Nigeria, maybe Igbo. They're the ones that do stuff like that.
Was Tony, what's it called? Yeah, he's a member of the far right. He said we're gonna deport all these people and our people first. To him, is Italian. He calls Italian
Yeah,
his people.
it's
Our
Italian.
people first, you know.
See his shiny
Yo,
head.
this is crazy.
I can see my future on his head. See how shiny it is.
Yeah, yeah, it's
This guy is
anti-immigration.
crazy.
You know,
Crazy
that's why
people.
Balotelli did not take it light. You know, Balotelli was
You
in the
came
start.
in as an immigrant, but you're not trying to ban other immigrants from coming in. Like Africans
I think
pull
he
him
come in
down
legally.
mentality.
Look, I can,
Yeah,
Kifaru, I can actually understand him saying he's anti-illegal immigration because he can say, look, they're giving the rest of us Africans who come to Europe legally a bad name. But for him to say he's anti-immigration, illegal immigration to Europe from Africa, because he wants his people to come first, him being Italian, that is
Yeah,
the
but
most delusional.
if you're a black person, you shouldn't even be in any far right movement because you know those guys are racist. It's another name for
No,
saying
but
white supremacy.
yeah, Nigerian prince. No, no, no. But you see, I'm giving him the most leniency. I'm saying I can try and understand if he said, I don't want illegal immigrants to come to Europe because they give people like this guy and Kifaru a bad name.
A bad name.
Because in the past, Kifaru, I think you also said this in the past, before this illegal immigration thing became an issue, like there was probably less racism in Europe, right? Like
of
you would
course,
walk around and no one would suspect you of being an illegal or something, right?
exactly. Italy, there was nothing
So
about people didn't care because there were less things to worry about. They just had the problem with their mafia. But yeah,
exactly. You see, Kifaru, if you use that as an excuse to say they should stop illegal immigration and they should send all the illegal immigrants back, I can somewhat understand it. But for him to say, I want my people to come first, and he's deluded himself into thinking he's Italian. I don't know, man.
yeah.
He
Well, I
sounds
think
like Uncle Ruckus.
yeah. There's
Yeah.
AM. There's much AM. Is AM there? Do you have anything to say, AM? No, you've been quiet all the time. I don't know if you're still there.
Yeah, I missed about the first 40 minutes, so I don't even know what
Yeah,
I don't understand.
okay, I'll just try to give a recap. We were like discussing. I was just pointing out, calling out these Africans politicians in European parliaments that want to change Europe. You know, they're so good in the politics that the European Parliament need them. You know, they've been ridiculed, like thrown bananas been thrown upon them. You know, insulted, but still they still want to be Europeans. You know, so we're trying to say what is going on in your mind. Why do they think they really need to be in those positions? You know, we think if you think you're really a good politician, that good to be in the European Parliament. Most of them, your country need good politicians. So why don't you take your expertise to your own various countries? And when you've been called out, like they told Bilongo, go back to Africa. Bilongo was fuming, say, I'm not African, you know. But that's what we're just trying to analyze. Is there any good or is there any need for them, or is there any advantage for also as Africans or for them, for these people to be in this parliament? What do you think?
No, I don't think so. I think that Africans who are happy that they're Africans in the parliament are just happy to know that they're good enough or that they're getting recognition, but it doesn't really matter because in all of these countries, Africans are a super minority. So even if you are in parliament, you get voted in Western parliament, you're not going to have power over other people to actually implement anything. You know, you're still going to have to work in unison with other parliament members who are non-African for the most part. So when Africans brag about we're getting representation, we're doing so good, it's the token African or the token black person. It's one person in a parliament that's full of, I don't know, maybe like 50, 100 members that are non-African. So I don't even see what the point in being happy about that is. It's not like they're a majority and they actually have power to do anything. They're just happy to see someone's face over there to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm good enough. Like I could go to school and I could be represented too and I could be a doctor, I could be a lawyer, I could be a billionaire too." And it's really sad because as people have mentioned on the panel before, these Africans, right, can excel and do so well in someone else's country, but in their own country, they they act like they don't know how to do anything. They have no know-how. It's just really, really interesting to see how, you know, they're trying so hard to belong somewhere else. And yeah, as you mentioned, they're not trying to go back and do anything in their home country. It's very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this woman had it like bad. You know, she had it bad. And the thing is, she's a medical doctor. Why don't you just chill and do your medical doctor stuff?
Exactly.
Go back to your country and help your people. Why do you want think that just mule and she's married to an Italian, and for some reason, all
All
of
of
them,
them
they have
always married
white
to the
partners. Yeah, yeah. So
they always have
there's some
white
kind of a
spouse.
No, but
syndrome.
Kifaru, you can understand. They're trying to integrate, man. The way they
Hmm.
probably think about it, if they marry like a person from that country, then their kids down the line also marry a person from that country. 2, 3 generations down the line,
Yeah,
their
white.
seed is going to be integrated within that country. You get what I mean? So
Hmm.
they're just doing whatever they think is best for them. Like, bro, these people think they're European. It's
They're
hopeless for them.
sorry. They're
The
sorry.
fact that this woman
That's
ran for parliament while she's a doctor, like, why are you running for parliament? Like, what do you even want to achieve? It's not your country.
Yeah, I think this her own case. She was just playing in this what was it called, affirmative action, because there was one time the European Union told Italy that, well, we've noticed that you have less migrant workers than most of these other European countries, and they said, you know what, we need to see more different. We need to see different, I don't know, cultures in Italy and things like that. It's not that Italians were like actually racist. Italians don't want to work. They just want to sit and relax and do their thing. And they're telling the European Union, well, if you want to work, that's your problem. We don't want people to come work. But since they were part of this European Union, whatever, they had to boast up and start putting this kind of goals. I think that's why she had to come out to be a Italian minister, but the racism was so bad for her that they had to take her away and send her to the European Union. I don't know what she's doing there. I don't know what about her again there. Yeah, but it's just a mess. So we don't need this. This is like lack of pride. You know, the,
it's embarrassing, Kifaru.
it's,
Like, come on now.
it's actually it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you. Tank was it Tanky Boat? So
Yeah, hi, Kafaru. How you doing?
where are you from?
Well, I live in the UK, but ethnically I'm Eritrean.
Ah, okay, okay. So what do you think about all these people, And for some reason it's just like the West Africans. They want to change Europe. Yeah, because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
for those who've seen Congo, why? Okay, Congo Central, Ivorian, Senegalese, Bilongo. Bilongo is actually Central and South African. Anyway, so what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with what most of you guys have been saying. But I think there's also a push from like Europeans. There's a reason why they want non-white politicians. I think you guys are maybe missing that particular aspect. Because when Europeans today, they try to act like they don't proclaim the fact that they're acting on the interest of their ethnicities, right? Like in the international sphere, they claim to just be humans, and this is what allows them to go around and police the globe. And I think having like non-white politicians kind of like reinforces this image. So ultimately, I think these people are actually tools of imperialism. White people want non-white politicians in their nations.
Yeah, I see.
Yo,
So you
thank you,
think
boss. There's something up with your mic.
yeah, his
You
mic
guys
is
say
like
it has that. Yeah,
his
but
mic is
Kifaru, you know he's actually right.
about what?
The fact that a lot of these black politicians, whether it's in Europe or even the United States, they mostly get used as a front, especially
Yeah,
let's say in
Of
Africa.
course, yeah.
we all know
Yeah,
that, and
absolutely.
that being
I mean,
used.
think about Kifaru. You know who the United Nations representative is for Joe Biden for America?
It's
You
a
know, it's a
black
black
woman.
lady.
It's that black lady,
Exactly.
right? Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I think they always try to make them do the dirty work because
It's tokenization, basically. That's
this
what it
is
is.
this is bad for us. So when some people see things like this, they think, oh, we are advancing. No, this is just it's like a thorn. I don't know, a needle that they're going to use that to prick you. It is bad to see people like these Africans in European parliaments. Like talking about Africa and this, we're that, because they're gonna use that same energy and come to your own country, but you can't even compete with them. So you can't be integrating with people when they're like 10, I don't know how many years ahead of you. They're just gonna use you as some kind of a mole, and that's the problem with all this integration thing. If you want to integrate with someone, I believe you should be like the same. You know, we should have the same kind of influence before you integrate it. You cannot be going to integrate when you're at the bottom of the barrel. That's how I see it. So all this energy, we can use this energy back in Africa first. When we can be up there, then we can talk about integrating. That integrating thing is not. It's not. I don't really like it.
Yeah, they're absolutely being used because if you at look at what's that Somali one? What is it? Ilhan Omar.
Ilhan
Iman.
And you
Omar.
look at these other ones, it doesn't matter what country. There's one in the UK, his name's called Kwesi Kwarteng. People hate him. If you look at all of these Africans that are in parliament or in government, people from their own home country who are in the West don't like them because they see that they're too westernized. They see that they're being used. They see that they have too many liberal talking points. So even people from that country, let's say a
Can you guys
Ghanaian is
hear her?
running
Because she's
for prime
breaking.
minister, or okay, let me not say prime minister, just minister, a general minister, you're going to notice that Ghanaians in that country are not going to support him because he's not going to be quote unquote Ghanaian. He's going to be westernized and liberalized, and he's going to be representing a whole group of people who don't think like that. They'd rather vote for somebody who's white who thinks like that than vote for someone who's from their own country, who's living in the West, that thinks like that. So I don't even think that these Africans realize that the people, their own community doesn't even support them like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I listened to that guy. I don't know, the Kwesi guy. No, was it Kwesi? I don't know. Is that the one that was prime minister and he was just sacked
No,
after 3
no.
days?
No.
Okay, there's another one that was Jamaican. I think that was a Jamaican one. This man was arguing with a white European Englishwoman that he's English. Can you imagine how that was stupid? He was telling this woman, "I'm English," and this white woman telling you, "You cannot be English. You're Jamaican. You can be British." He said, Why can't I be English? Why can I not be English?" And the
Look in
woman
the
was
mirror.
saying it in a
Kifaru,
really
You should have
nice
just said,
way.
look in the mirror.
Yeah, the
Thank you,
woman was
but
saying it
these
in a
UK
really nice
Brits are
way.
too much, man. These UK
Yeah,
black Brits are
she
too
was
much, man.
saying it.
Black,
Yeah, in a really
black,
Yeah, but
nice way.
black
to be fair,
Brits.
the other reason why a lot of black people claim to be English is because white liberals told them that.
Oh,
Because there's one section of the white population that constantly tells us that, if you're not white, you can still be English. English has not England is a nation of immigrants. There's no such thing as an indigenous British
Thank you, but
person,
I think
etc.
it's the combination of the white liberals and also these blacks from Europe and so on thinking they're the same as African Americans. I think they see themselves as the European versions of African Americans. You see,
Of
an
African
African American could
Americans.
easily
Yeah,
say
yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah, maybe,
American. He's American, and he can be justified in that statement because they were there pretty much
Yeah.
since the start of the build of America,
Since the founding,
so
yeah,
on
yeah.
and so forth. Like, yeah, mostly African Americans have been there longer than most Europeans, especially Southern Europeans.
Completely different story.
These people think they are, yeah, but Kifaru, you cannot, these people are delusional. They think they are the European version of African Americans, man.
Exactly.
Basically, yeah.
Or someone say I'm black Italian. What does that mean? It makes no sense to me. What is black
What does that
Italian?
mean?
What does that doesn't even sound right in my head.
When
Or I'm black French, I'm
when
black
your
German.
grandmother
I'm
your
black.
grandmother is still in Africa.
Exactly. And you're still eating damn fufu and egusi soup.
Yeah, but you're
And you
black
say you're
Italian.
black Italian.
Your
Italians
cousin
don't
just got
know.
married. Your cousin just got married in Nigeria 2 weeks ago. So, but, yeah, black Italian.
Black Italian.
You're still sending money to build a house, a family house in Nigeria.
Man, these guys are
And
just sad.
actually, you guys, it's not joke. There's some little nonsense going on in Italy, and people start calling themselves black sono nero Italiano. You know,
Are
I'm
those
black
the
Italian.
ones born there?
Huh?
Are those the
I was
ones
born
born
there,
there?
Yeah. Those that were born here, but most
Okay.
of them are just first generation Africans. You understand, and they don't even integrate that much. You know, Italian culture is something that is so unique. You understand? You can't really be Italian because they do still keep their culture. Like the weekends, Italians they actually still go to their grandmothers' villages. You understand? Still have certain
Yeah.
food, still have the way they do things. So you can't be you can't be an Italian. You know, you can be like actual Italian. You know, so this thing like black Italian to me is just some kind of delusional kind of ideology. As Abby rightly said, they think they're like African Americans. They want to use African Americans, but African Americans have the complete different history. You know, with most European countries. Yeah, but all
Yeah,
this.
because they still have some sort of claim because before they got there, America was just farmland, so they were still in the process of building it. So they did
Bro, it wasn't
contribute.
even farmland.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Most of it was still
Did you
had
say farmland?
naked Indians running around.
Oh my god.
Inhabited now, so there was all those huts like the Red Indians had. So it wasn't like it was developed or nothing. There were no roads, there were no railroads, there was nothing. It's not like England or Britain that has
And
been
you can
existing
argue
for
that,
like thousands of years.
and you can argue that African Americans have been integral to what you would call American culture, because
They
even
have.
from back
Look
then,
Yeah,
at
of
the
course.
Jews,
look at
Yeah,
which turned
American
into
food.
Exactly.
The
And the
bro.
American
These
food
guys have
that's good
contributed.
is the black
What
people
can this
food. The
what can
music
this
that's
woman
good
say?
is the
Black
black
people
people
have
music.
exactly, but what
Yeah.
can these Europeans say they've contributed to European culture? What the fuck has she brought?
I mean, she has fufu restaurant in
Nothing.
Italy now, so that's contribution, I guess.
Pasta with fufu.
I don't know, like being part of the football teams. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Nah, like Africans are.
That's it.
But yet, we still be the same people saying black and proud, but we are not proud of being black. That's just the honest truth,
Yeah,
no,
true.
We want to
not
assimilate.
at all. Not at all. Not
We
at
want to
all. Not
assimilate very quick. Even
yeah.
check out the Africans that go to the US. They change their name from Choma to Chichi. They shorten it. Yeah, it's the truth. They start speaking and trying to act all foreign and stuff like that. So it tells you that we're not really proud of who we are. So that's why it's easy for us to give it up like that.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. People we want like an already made society. We don't know
Yep.
for society to build itself. We need people to sacrifice. We want an already made and want to be part of it. It's not going to work. That's why you can't go to a Western country and try to fight racism. To me, and that's my problem with these Negropeans. All what they do is fighting racism, and they will start to say, "Oh, they're not representing us." Who the hell? We don't see people like us in their TV, bro. That's people's country. Why do you want them to show you how?
Kifaru, you know
But
what the sad thing is?
Kifaru, you have to realize they're
Kifaru,
being used.
oh,
Yeah, no.
yeah,
So I was just
Kifaru,
saying
you know
the
what
reason
the
why they're
sad thing
saying
is?
this is because they're
Oh,
being
sorry.
used. Go on,
Go
Abby,
ahead.
go on.
I was going to say the sad thing is, if these guys really wanted to fight quote unquote racism, they would just go back to their countries and develop their countries. Because a
Exactly.
lot of anti-black racism is just people from the outside looking at you dusty and thinking, "Oh, these guys are dusty."
But that's just the
Exactly.
truth.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
no
the
shit.
truth. If you come in like, if I was a Frenchman, like that guy, that far right guy, he was looking at Bilongo when Bilongo was speaking, how Bilongo was bloody talking about climate change in France. It meant nothing to him. How do you talking about climate change in Europe? He said, go back to Africa because go and fix Africa. You're talking about climate change in Europe. Why? We don't need you. You
Well, the
understand?
guy's probably being funded, Kifaru. The guy's probably being funded by some European liberal NGO. So you have to
Not
understand that these
funded.
people,
No, say used. Maybe like he is confused because no, come
no,
on.
they receive money. They receive money from like
Yeah,
foreign
they get money
liberal
from.
NGOs.
Hmm.
You have to understand these people are not there to fight racism. They think they're doing that. In reality, there's an agenda to why they're being placed in these positions.
Yeah, it's just sad at the
It's
end of the day.
they have both an agenda within their country that they're running to be prime
Yeah.
ministers and so on, and also on the country of the country that they originate from. Because let's be real, on the international platform, people like to cope, but internationally, like Westerners around the world, even till this day.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
if they put people like Obama and like Richie Sunak now in the UK,
The UK,
who's from
yeah.
Pakistan in power, yeah, then people from these other countries would at least be temporarily blinded or
Yeah, it's just
delusional
for
into
optics
thinking there's an equal
sake.
world. You know what I mean? Like they will actually fool
Exactly.
themselves into
Yeah.
thinking it's like the UN. You know how the UN Security Council has like 15 voters at any point. I think 15 to 20 voters. But the only votes that matter are the ones from the 5 countries.
Only
The
5.
Yeah, the permanent
the
seats.
permanent seat from the 5 countries. So that's what they're playing. That's the game they're playing. But here we are as Africans think, oh, I wonder how Kenya and Gabon are going to vote in the Security Council. Who the fuck cares, man? Who cares?
Exactly. Yeah.
There's only five votes that matter. That's why you see when Ethiopia was being interrogated in the UN for the civil war, Ethiopia never bothered to call Kenya in to ask them to vote a certain way. All they did was try and negotiate with Russia and China because those are the people that matter. Kenya's vote doesn't fucking matter. But if they put these people in, that's the equivalent of who these people are. They're just there to put a front. They're there to make European domination, to mirror European domination, to almost have an invisible hand of control. Because you look at Obama, you look at this guy, and you think, oh, it's an equal world out there.
Yeah. It's true though. Like when you see like the Republicans, like when they want to talk all their racist stuff, they don't use the white people, they use the black face to come out and say the stuff that they
They use
can't really
Candace
say.
Owens, bro.
Yeah. So they use all those black Republican politicians to say all the racist stuff.
That's good, but that's true. That's what at the end of the day we can't integrate with people who are far ahead of us. So all these things is a mirage. It's a really bad idea for these
Mao
people.
Kifari, why are we trying to integrate? Why not try to
Exactly,
build? Like I
exactly,
don't understand.
exactly. Look, they say Minister of Integration, and anything you say that is integration is always an African or black person in one of these countries. Why are you always putting someone that is at the bottom to be the Minister of Integration? Because those people don't want to integrate. You are the ones who want to integrate with them. If I see some Minister of Integration, whatever, is a white person, it might be a little bit. Well, go ahead, Africa.
No, I was gonna say, well, why are we trying to integrate? Well, on one hand, African parents tell their kids that's what they're supposed to do, that's you being at the top is you integrating, you being that one black person in a class in a medical school full of white people, you being that one black person where there are no other black people. That's the epitome of you coming at the top. So that's what why I can't say all Africans, but I'll say that's what a lot of Africans tell their children, that's what you're supposed to do. So people are just doing what they're being told to do.
Yeah, it's true though. But we need to break out from that colonial mindset though.
Yeah, we
That's
need to build. You need to build. So what you're discouraging me not to meet Abubakar Somaromo. He's
No,
a
you
guy.
should
It's
meet him. No, you should definitely meet him, Sparrow.
Yeah. He's young, but he's young. He's energetic. I like to see young Africans who get involved in politics. But to me, he's just it's misplaced priorities. You understand? Because he is in Italy, and in Italy we know Italy is controlled by the mafia. Berlusconi, he owns almost 80% of the lawyers in Italy. What are you talking about? Like
You
he
mean the guy
paid.
who owns AC Milan?
that's the guy that has AC Milan Football
That
Club. Yeah.
is that's capo
Wait.
mafioso.
I thought he went to jail though.
Who goes who Berlusconi?
Yeah.
Bro, he
I
never
know.
touched jail, man.
No.
They're
They're
trying to arrest him
He
for
went.
tax
No,
He's
fraud
no,
or
a
no,
something.
no, no,
godfather.
no,
Kifaru,
not Silvio, not
Kifaru,
Silvio.
have you ever watched Narcos? Have you ever
Yes,
watched the
yeah,
show
on
Narcos?
your Netflix, yeah.
You know the jail they put El Chapo in. Pretty much where he got to build his own jail. It was like a
That's
mansion that he tried.
a resort.
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
not a
Even if
jail.
that guy went to jail, though, he's going to that type
Prison,
of jail. He's not going to regular people jail.
prison resort. That's where he went to, not jail. Prison resort.
It's like when the Saudi, remember when the Saudi prince, when he imprisoned all of his political rivals and other royal family members in like some five-star hotel room, bro. And these guys were complaining that they were in prison, though they were in a hotel room that was like all gold. That was crazy.
Yeah, I think we should focus our energy in building Africa. We can take the opportunities we have in the West, but we should stay out of these people's mess, stay out of their politics, stay out of whatever they don't want you. So yeah, welcome, Jude. What have you got to say, bro? Are you gonna be part of a work politician in America as well? Is Jude okay?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Kifao, thanks for bringing me into the panel. I want to thank everybody on the panel. This is the thing going on, right? Um, Kifao, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, yes, this is the thing that is going on. People, look, Africans, it's high time we know where our homeland is, right? Especially those of us that lives overseas. Instead of getting involved in what is going on in American politics or international space. I think like people are saying that we should focus on rebuilding Africa and focusing on our own things because many of the times we want to relate to um African American I think few days ago we are talking about film industry, right? How the things that the Wakanda, some of the people say it doesn't reflect the African culture or the African belief. And I think two Niger told me that the woman queen doesn't reflect Africa because it was gayish. And this is a thing that we should start focusing on, right? Just because people have their own things that they are doing in America or we feel like they're black doesn't mean we have the same culture. There's a different culture, there's a different people, they do what is suit them. We should start doing what is suit us Africans, you know. And we should focus on Africa, rebuilding and building Africa, man, because if we don't, and then nobody is gonna do it for us. Africa is still gonna be the way it is. When you see the brain drain that is leaving Africa, most of the time we believe that we could only make it overseas instead of making it in Africa. And that's a very bad decision for us, especially when you see a Liberian president, the son who's playing for America. You ask yourself, why are Africans out of the sudden they are refusing to be African white? It is really a pain because we feel like we are not part of Africa. We are refusing to be part of Africa, some of us, which is not good because we tend to blame the white people for doing it, but at the same time, we are our own problems, right? So I wish things can change and we should go back and do things right because if not, it's just gonna be same old, same old. Like things are always gonna keep happening. And yeah, that's just I really don't have much to say, man. I'm in a I'm really busy this weekend, especially. have too much things in mind. So thanks. I just came in to say show love to the panel.
Yeah, thanks for passing by. Really appreciate. Hi guys, if you please do like the stream, So let's keep getting to YouTube, the YouTube engine to see if they can post up. We know we're new and so this is the thing. Yeah, you're talking about George Weah. You know, I saw a stream that the president is going to go for a 9 days break to watch the World Cup. That is the most that's the most disgusting thing I've ever heard for an African
That's
president. He's
ridiculous.
going to go for 9 days break to watch the World Cup because his son, who is in America, is playing for the American team. Oh my God! So when you hear things like that, you just know where we are just floating. I think
Yeah, but
we're
that's how
not.
you know we don't have leaders. We have rulers. You see, that's the difference.
Yeah, yeah. So how is it? How can he even make such a statement to the public? Keep it to yourself. It's wrong, but keep it to yourself. You go on on the live TV making that kind of a statement for a break, so your country does not function. For country to stop working for 2 days, it means you're gonna lose a lot. The transaction, the documentation. But if you're going for 9 days, then your country is not working. The country is just floating. It's not actually a country. You don't even control it because we're gonna talk about that some other day. But it was really really disgusting, and his child is playing for another country, and some people don't see that as an issue. Yeah, so that's it. So yeah, guys. So someone has anything to say about this? These Afropeans and representing us or
Yeah,
representing themselves or whatever.
yeah, I just wanted to say that this Afropean mindset, um, I just feel like generationally it's not the same. I don't think my generation or the younger generation is as bad as the older generation of the Africans who came here in the 80s and literally
Oh, I
got
disagree.
their
I think
African.
it's worse.
No, I think it's worse because if you go to other parts of Africans, not necessarily the Horn, a lot of Africans over here don't know their language. They've never been to Africa. Their parents never taught them about their Africanness. So then when you look at someone like that and you go like they're not African, I mean, their parents didn't, I mean, they were born here, right? So who
Hmm.
the one who brought them over here, why are they not teaching them about their Africanness or their African love of Africa? I look at my cousins who are like 19, 21, 16, and whenever I speak to them about their own country, like, well, their parents' country, they'll tell you it's their parents' country, not theirs. Whenever I speak to them about Ghana, anything to do with Africa, Ghana, just anything, Afrobeats, anything, they're just
They don't
like,
care.
I'm not really interested. I'm far removed from that. I gave up on Ghana. They say things like, I gave up on Ghana. And it's like, you never been there. You never lived there. You don't even know anything about that country, but you're saying you've given up on it. And it just makes me so sad because I'm just like, what happened? This is only one generation. And if these people marry non Africans, forget non Ghanaians, if these people marry non Africans, then what
The
can I
rap.
really say when they're not African themselves? They don't identify with the term African. They don't identify with their parents' country. They don't identify with
Yeah,
their parents'
but
language,
this is the
their
thing.
culture.
This is the thing. Those people will be the one doing videos of Afrobeats dance move on TikTok. Those will be the same one trying to do all the latest Afrobeat, dressing like African, being proud African. They just, I think that's the same ones that are doing all those stuff, but they don't want to go to Africa. They just want to get the bits and pieces of Africa that they think they can work with, they can be part of it, and the part of that. Then the rest they put it in the bush. What do you think? Do you think that that's what some of those people do?
Yeah, you could be right about that. Yeah.
I
Thank you,
mean,
but
like,
just to, if you
my
don't
bad, go
mind,
ahead.
were you born in the UK?
No, I was born in Italy.
Whoa, in
Oh,
Italy.
oh, okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But you don't speak
There are a
Italian,
lot
do
of
you?
Eritreans in Italy,
No,
though.
no, I do speak Italian. I speak Italian, yeah.
Oh, parli italiano tu?
Sì, sì, certo, sono nato
Perfettamente.
là. Sì.
Ah, va bene, va bene, va bene. Ah, grazie. Ah, va bene, va bene. No, non
Vivevi in
sapevo.
Italia anche te?
Ma io sono italiano, ho vissuto lì a quasi 10 anni, 9 anni così a Bologna.
E vivi là ancora adesso?
No, 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 sono adesso in Inghilterra. Ma fatto avanti e indietro, Italia, Inghilterra così. La mia famiglia è quasi lì.
Oh, so you're like me because I also live in the UK now, so.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So yeah, sorry for cutting short, Abby, yeah.
No, I was just checking to see how he still identifies as Eritrean. I think maybe Horner parents are a bit different. That may be the difference.
It's also, I think, it depends on where in the UK you grow up, right? Because I live in London, and London's very ethnically diverse. You're not amongst many English people, so most people retain their ethnic identity. But if you live in an area that's mostly English, then it's probably going to be more difficult to retain your identity. You're going to want to integrate more, right? Because you're only amongst the indigenous people.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say this. Look, I think when when Keizo and AM put on their streams that should Africans in Europe or other places, should they be the ones to rule Africa, so on? Should they come back and rebuild Africa? Look, I think we just have to realize that maybe only a third of the people there are even interested in Africa. Maybe a third to maybe half,
Probably
maximum.
less, to be honest. Yeah.
The other half, yeah, maybe even a quarter, it could be possible.
Yeah.
So the other half, just they'll probably never interested. So just leave it as it. They already make their mind up.
Yeah,
and you also have to you would also have to remove the people that are culturally and psychologically colonized. Because a lot of the people, even if you go back, obviously there's going to be an interest for Western power to send back people that embody their ideals, right? So I don't know. So I think it's quite dangerous. This idea that people in the diaspora should run Africa, I think it's probably not a very good idea.
It has to be sensical. Like you don't want this third wave feminist coming here to Africa.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want a Trojan horse.
You have to be careful. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, but this is the thing, Abby. We can't reject them. You understand? If someone
we can reject them.
Yeah,
we can reject them.
How you can't reject an Ethiopian that was born in the West all his life and is coming back to Ethiopia? How can you? He's still Ethiopian.
I think they should understand. They should understand that they're going to submit to the values of, at the very least, the cultural and social values of the nations that they originally from.
Okay, look,
you're not going to go there and culturally colonize them.
Yeah, let me just use the example that I just brought up. Let's say some third wave feminist chick, Ethiopian chick that was living in the UK, purple hair and everything, comes back to Ethiopia, and she starts telling, "Oh, you don't have to wear these scarves, blah blah blah." Bro, you send her back.
Kick her out.
You just send her back.
100%.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
Okay, you're talking about the extreme is okay.
Like if they're trying to spread their liberalism and all these other things that you think are going to affect your society or LGBT
and
stuff.
as time goes on, it's not going to be extreme either. Yeah. As time goes on, there's going to be a larger and larger population of African diasporans with these ideas. So that's also something that you have to take into consideration. It's not going to be extremes in a couple of decades, right? It's probably going to be the vast majority of Africans in the diaspora with these ideas.
Yeah, that is true.
I think that it has
so
to
do you think it's just inevitable?
Unless there's obviously a very radical change in the political trajectory of the West, I think it's inevitable that people are simply because at the end of the day, public opinion is an effect; it's not the cause, right? What people think is the result of what the media puts out and what the education system teaches people. So I think ultimately it's going to be inevitable that Africans in the diaspora are going to have these ideals.
Now, I don't know if this is true, but they said that the African diasporas who are from Anglophone countries, so the African Anglophone countries, is going to happen first, as opposed to the Lusophone, the Swahili countries and all of that. They said that it's going to happen first because those are the Africans that are more in contact or more current with global affairs because they tend to be in
That's
English
true.
as well.
That's true.
So they're
Oh,
like
because English is the language of globalism.
the Anglophone
Yeah,
African
English is.
countries are gonna fall first. And
Of
I
course,
actually
yeah,
agree with
because English
You're
is
that.
right.
the language of
Yeah,
imperialism.
It's true though.
you know the like the French the assimilation of French West Africa was really bad, you know, and it's something that they have to debunk it. They don't accept, but the assimilation was bad. France was trying to make them think you are black French people. They were trying to make them think like Africa is just some different province in France, you black Frenchmen. And that's how most of them grew up to think, you know, if you spoke your local language, they would make ridicule of you that you're speaking some stupid African nonsense. You know, it went like that for a long time. But on the other hand, the British did not want these people to be part of them. They just tell you, you know what, you need to take care of yourself. You know, so they were more conscious of being African and trying to trying to take care of their own environment. So that makes sense. That makes sense. You know, if you listen to
Kifaru,
what
but I was gonna say, I think what Tankybot and the AM are trying to say is like the Anglophones, the Britain especially and America, even if they don't see you as themselves, they still like to spread their ideology far more than
Of
French.
course,
The
yeah, yeah,
French,
yeah.
I think they want you to be liberal if you are in France. They don't care what you do in your own country so long as they're still able to exploit you economically. Because you have to realize a lot of Francophone African countries are Muslim. And uh, France hasn't gone out of its way to try and liberalize these places in their own country. Like when you come to their country, yes, they might want to liberalize you, but if you're in your own country, they're not going out of their way to try and liberalize you. Whereas England and America, bro, they go out of their way, even in your own country, to
okay.
to
I
make
think
you
there's a
like
reason
them.
for that, Abby. Yeah, yeah. I think there's a reason for that because obviously I grew up in Italy, and Italy in the past, like maybe decade, 2 decades, has changed quite a bit in terms of
Sorry,
like in terms of the social values.
what town do
Yeah,
you grow in?
Torino, Turin, so North
Torino.
Italy.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so even when it comes to Italy and a lot of these other, I guess, non-English speaking European nations, until like a decade ago, 2 decades ago, they were quite socially conservative. Religion was quite the norm. So I think these nations themselves are being colonized by the English-speaking countries, by the Anglosphere. So I think that's also something to take into consideration. I mean, that's the reason why they're not so interested, because France still has French values and a unique culture, whereas the English-speaking nations have like a very common liberalism. If you go to any English-speaking country, you're not going to see any unique ethnic artifacts. Like they almost lack a culture.
Yeah, true. But Kifaru, I mean, you can even look at this now. When you look at African countries, which ones
Yeah.
have the most feminist? Which ones have the most like out there third wave feminist type of women? The ones I
It's,
can think of
it's the
come from
English
the
one.
Anglosphere.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
Kenya. And
Kenya, Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa. Those are the ones. They're all Anglosphere countries, man.
Mhm.
that makes sense. So I get now what you're trying to say. Yeah, the British they want you to live like them. You know, that's where they respect you.
Yep.
If you're not living like them, they don't respect you. Is that was that your argument?
Yes. And not only
Yeah, the
do they
West is
not respect you,
dominated
they
by
have a need. I think the Anglos like Britain and America, they have this need to make you want to turn you into them. Like they feel like if you
yes,
don't
yeah.
believe the same things they do, if you don't believe, if you don't live according to their values, like you're almost insulting them. They see that like as an affront to them.
Basically, yeah, yeah,
They,
yeah, yeah. You got that right, yeah.
Yeah, so I just want to go ahead of you and just say, please, this is the PAA website. Is still nothing. It's just to get people who are interested. If we're talking about the manifesto. It's taking some time. We're just trying to write it, but it's simple. So if you think there's something about education in Africa that you think is not done the right way, and you have a better opinion how to do it, please just come, explain to us what you think is wrong and how we can change it. That's just what we're trying to do here. So if you have Telegram, you can go to my Telegram. There's some people already there. We just share ideas and build this manifesto, and let's try to change things in our own little way. Let's start. We don't know who's going to take it, who's listening. And so just want to say, go there and put in your email, and join us, just help us to build these things. It's I think we don't know what we've gotten ourselves into, but we can do it when there's the will. Yeah. So thanks.
And the other thing is also the media. So if you don't speak English, you probably won't be influenced that much by American media. But
Yeah.
if you do speak English, that's going to be your number one influence, whether you like it or not. So you see in the Anglosphere, a lot of women, especially these days, tend to identify with African American women. Even here in South Africa, bro, you realize how many of these women here in South Africa, black South African women, that think they're the same as African American women, that think their struggles are the same. So if your country doesn't speak English these days as the primary language, I think it's almost like a blessing because you get to avoid a lot of the.
But this is the thing in Cameroon now. The more the French side, they're sending your children in the English side to study English. Because I think they say speaking English in the world now has more advantage than speaking French. So most of them
Yes.
are going into English universities now. So it's full of
Yeah,
like in my
Kifaru,
town.
I'm not trying to say we're safe in the non-Anglosphere space. I'm just saying that the Anglospheres will be the first ones to get liberalized, and then we'll probably be like 10, 20 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bound to happen though. Like it's just a matter of time. It's
Well, why do you say that?
Like, Kifaru, you realize here in South Africa, there's a group of women that call themselves it girls, like IT, like it girls. Bro, all they are is just a carbon copy of Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, and like a stereotypical African American woman.
slay queen.
Slay, thank you. That's what they are, but they call them
In
it girls here. Like, it
America,
is
they
so
have
embarrassing.
milfs. We have slay mama. That's what we call them.
You see, but this is what's happening in the Anglosphere space, man.
So it's like all those Real Housewives of Hollywood and the rest. They have their version in Nigeria now. So
They have Real Housewives of Lagos. Can you
yeah,
believe
so
that shit?
It's a
we are
great
getting
show.
there.
I'm
I
joking.
know, I know you. I know
Dirty
you would
woman,
like it.
man.
African
I,
women.
I'm joking. It's not a good show. I'm joking.
Terrible. I only saw the what's it called, the trailer. I'm like, what the heck is this? I'm like, what? I know they have
It's scary.
Johannesburg. I know they have Cape Town. There's Durban. I'm like, oh Lord, please,
I can
somebody
imagine
drown me.
how it can be. I don't waste my time watching like a replica of American shows in Africa. It will be just boring. We can create when we're growing up there was Jaguar. Most of you were not born yet. It was very funny and
Jaguar Nana. That was like in the 80s.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then that
So
new masquerade.
yeah, so
And
things like that. I think if things are original, if we can do original stuff and we're better. But all this boils down to the policies of the country. Americans can go far, to the extreme, doing all whatever they want to do in their country. Their country has got some stability. They have institution that works. If you're gonna do piercing all over your body, if something goes wrong, there's a hospital that's gonna fix you. If you're gonna do piercing in Africa, something goes wrong, you're gonna die. That's why these
man,
people.
Kifaru, you need to
Before you
come
start,
to you need to come
before
to
you start,
Lagos now. See all these
yeah,
girls
but
are doing BBL. You
it's
know
cheap
that?
one. It's like
Oh my
that's
god.
it's like really cheap BBL. The one that they take, they don't know. They don't know
I'm
these
like,
people in
you guys,
America.
people are dying of malaria. People still die of malaria in this country, but
Exactly,
they are doing BBL surgery,
exactly.
It's
liposuction,
embarrassing.
breast enlargement, but people are dying of typhoid and cholera. What's that one?
People are dying of
Diarrhea.
hunger.
But they are doing complex
They're
cosmetic
dying of
surgery.
dysentery. This woman is
Yeah,
getting cosmetic surgery, man. It's crazy.
like man, and some of these girls they
No, but
die. Yo. There was one that died like three
you know
months
what's
ago because
crazy?
of
It's that
complication.
you know
Yeah, go
what's the
ahead.
funniest thing about all of this is that they don't realize how much of a caricature they come off as when they try and replicate something that they didn't grow up in. Like they come off as people who have no personality of their own, who are just trying to copy other. I don't. They're very vapid and shallow. Like
Man,
I
it's sad,
watched
bro.
because of AM. I saw like one snippet of the Real Housewives of Lagos, and you would think the way these women talk, they are in America. Even the things they think are problems, like no African thing. Some of these things they find problems are problems. It's like, where do these women think they are?
Yeah.
Oh,
People
and
watch it though. That's why
I
they
don't know
have
if you
all.
noticed, but not necessarily Real Housewives of Lagos, but if you just look at a lot of these social media stars, not just in Lagos, but I'll just say West Africa, you'll notice a lot of these superstars are getting rhinoplasty. That's rising. People getting nose jobs, and I'm just like, when did Africans think of
Yes,
nose jobs? Like
yeah,
what?
we are doomed. We are doomed. I'm just.
I think, yeah, man. I think we are laughing, but these are the things that the young ones see. You know, these are things that the young ones see, and they always
Kifaru,
want to
if you
imitate.
don't laugh, you'll cry, man.
No,
Yeah.
no, no, it's funny.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
funny. No, I mean, like, what I'm trying to say,
Kifaru,
we need to see because how we can like take control over this thing because it's just gonna get worse. As I said, the
Kifaru,
West.
listen, let me tell you. Growing up as a kid, for you to find a girl that smokes cigarettes, just cigarettes, like, man, she has
Yeah,
to be a prostitute. Now on Nigerian Instagram, all the girls are smoking weed,
Oh
hookah,
my god.
bong, everything. I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, you see them pretty, but you see them, all their posts is all about smoking and smoking. They're always in bomb shots and bras and everything. It's like, oh, yeah, we are done.
to be honest with you, this is something I also noticed in Ethiopia. Ethiopia might not take a lot of bad behaviors from the West as much, but they do take a lot of bad behaviors from Arab countries. And one thing that has become so common is shisha places now. Yo, I want like when I went to Ethiopia last time, I kid you not, a 40-year-old woman walking on the street, holding her shisha pot, going to a shisha place to go chill with the rest of her friends.
That's
Like it is so
dedication right
common now.
there.
Yeah, it's so common to see in Ethiopia these
Oh.
housewives
please
with
let's
kids.
play. I've never seen this thing. I'm just curious. I want to see how this thriller is gonna turn out. I don't know. Let's see what they're gonna say.
Real Housewives of
When
Douala
you want
coming
to
up
talk to
next.
your first reunion, you say we were not friends. Are you the one that they want to believe?
From September to October
Are you the
was
one
when
that
I
they want
knew
to
you.
believe?
I know the date. November 4th, I kicked you
Okay,
out of
so
my
what?
house.
Okay.
What's your
But
problem?
that's what you're doing.
What's your
You're a mean
problem?
person.
And everyone can see how jealous and competitive you are.
Why am I jealous?
Focus on your
Jealous
focus.
of
Go
what?
and continue creating
Jealous
crayons.
of Choma. I do not. If you
Eh,
try me, I will show
Well, is this real or is just a show?
of course, it's acting now. Come on now.
Look
They
at
have,
the other one. There's another one where they're not even wearing their cultural clothes. That one's worse.
This one.
Not the reunion. I think just the general trailer. Like you'll see bleach Shianas.
Jesus.
yeah, there was this
We
cosmetic shop that they shut down like 2 years ago. So what they do is, a bathtub, right? They'll mix all these like concoctions in there, and they will dip the ladies inside. You can literally see their skin peeling off. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, this. I think sometimes these people they don't even control the images. I think it's just a money making thing. There must be some I don't know, some bigger uh
Shit.
movie
Kifaru,
studios
like
behind them.
this thing they call Big Brother. It first started in South Africa, but I was wondering why Nigerian Big Brother became so popular. Do you know that it's like 300 million views of that show when it airs? It's always like 400 million views. That should show you people in Africa are craving that type of media. That's why all these media companies are churning them out, pushing them out, because the younger Africans are infatuated with the Western life, so they want that stuff. You see?
Yeah, but see, this is the thing.
I
They don't
wouldn't
want
even
to
say
go
the
ahead.
younger Africans, bro. I would say it's the younger female audience, bro. Because who watches Big Brother? Like here in South Africa, it's mostly women that watch that stuff.
True, true.
Let's see this.
I
Let's
was
see this.
shocked. 300 million views. I'm like, what the hell?
Ready? Many, many more successes this 2022.
Oh my God. Are they twerking in the.
Where is that? That is not even an African.
love. I love people. I love life. I'm ready drama.
Oh, look at this one. Is it? What's this? Is this
Is
That's
that Ike?
Linda Cage's sister.
It looks like some Coista.
Yo, these women have bleached to the extreme, bro. That's not
That's
even a skin
bleaching
tone
plus
anymore.
This
yeah,
does not
bleach plus
represent
makeup.
Nigeria in no way.
In fact,
She
I
looks
think all
like a
the girls
ghost.
have been extra nice to Choma. I don't
This is just like this is the worst one. She looks like really
know
fake.
why. If you disrespect me, I'll give it back to you. Yeah, you are not like that. How dare you? You support them, or you say something to disrespect me. I don't like it.
Look at the hair. Come on, man.
When you are wrong, I will tell you.
Black people with pink, long, straight hair.
Stop again, I will lose this with you.
Sorry, mommy.
The book that you're talking about, how much have you made from the book? What are you talking about? What?
Sorry.
Is that a mixed race chick?
Whatever. Eh?
What's
No,
her
the
name?
last lady. I was asking.
Caroline Ekanem. I think she's mixed, but she's from Calabar. So when all
Yeah,
those
when they mix,
Europeans.
then they're trying to look white.
Nah, but I think she grew up in Nigeria. Like those missionaries that came during colonial. Some of them never left, so some of them still have like kids. It's like maybe like 1%. You still see them.
Yeah,
Like Donald Trump's daughter. She married the Lebanese Nigerian, right? But people don't know that the guy is from Nigeria.
Yeah, we have
So
Lebanese mixed people in our country as well.
Tiffany Trump.
Oh, okay.
Her
I only know
husband
one of Donald Trump's daughters. Man.
Ivanka. That's a popular one.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
it's Lebanese, though.
we have like Lebanese mixed people. We're gonna talk about the story of the Lebanese because that country. Do you know what? If you go online, you look at Lebanese GDP, it's gonna high, but they say the average Lebanese live now on $50 a month. But
For real?
Africans, for some reason, they're still going to Lebanon to look for work. That's what I don't understand.
Colonial
Lebanese,
mindset.
they've stopped their banks. No one can take money from
Yeah,
there.
but that happened over the last 2-3 years, maybe. Because Lebanon used to be like Lebanon used to be the banking hub of the Middle East. It used to be a place where even all the Saudis and so on, that's where they used to put their money. But over the last maybe 2-3 years, I think they just took all their money out because they withdrew the money out because of political problems within Lebanon, and that tanked the economy. It's like a spiraling cycle now. Like the worse the economy gets, the worse the political condition gets, then the worse the economy gets because more people take their money out, so on and so forth. So now the country's pretty much in a free fall. Also, the Syrian war had a problem, caused a lot of issues for them because Syria and Lebanon pretty much border one another.
That's interesting. That's interesting because I think I watched something recently. It has a lot of political unrest, and if I see people like Nigerians, young girls going to work in Lebanon, it does not make sense because some of the time I think if they really want to work, that the amount they pay them, they can still get that amount of money in Nigeria. That's what really baffles me. I think it's just some kind of
Lebanon and Syria used to be the top two places. I don't know about you guys, but especially Ethiopian maids used to go to mainly Lebanon and Syria. That used to be like the main places where they used to go and work as maids there. And both those countries are pretty much tanked. And Kibaru, Lebanon is pretty much a very sectarian place. Like it's a very tribal place. Because I think was it in the 90s or something, they had a civil war there between the three factions. Because in Lebanon they are the Christians, the Shias, and the Sunnis. So the way they had a peace deal there is, I think the president has to come from one faction, the prime minister has to come from another faction, and then also another position has to be given to the Christians. So all these three groups are sharing power there. So that's why they can't even solve the political situation there, because it's very messy, man. If you think Nigerian tribalism is bad, or any African tribalism is bad, it's even like 100 times worse there.
Yeah, those Arab countries, I don't know. It's just people need to know. Well, we've been talking about that for for the past year on this live stream. I think at the end of the day, the countries need to make policies to stop that because we all know this. I don't know. I may be wrong. These are people that have been taken advantage of. I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna take that back. I saw one video of a Nigerian lady was talking about her experience in this. I don't know what country, maybe Lebanon. She spoke like someone that is educated. I was surprised that someone like her could actually thinking going to Lebanon was something good for her. Yeah, maybe they make these choices and I don't know. Maybe it's just black man's problem. Something that is lighter, skin complexion is better. There's something that's people's
Yeah,
head.
I mean, see, Kifaro, the thing with the Nigerian space is like, if a Nigerian, right, goes to South Africa, after like 5, 10 years, he comes back to Nigeria, he builds a house, buys 3 cars, does his wedding, is lavish. When he's going back to South Africa, he's not going to go by himself. Other people in Nigeria will be like, wow, this guy went to South Africa in 10 years, he came back and he's a millionaire. They don't know what he went to go and do in South Africa. You know what they're going to do? They'll ask him, can I please go with you? And he will take them along. And next thing you know, he might be doing trafficking, he might be into drugs, and he'll get those naive teenagers into what they don't really know, nothing about. So that's that problem also. We covet riches, we want to be rich and wealthy, and we'll do anything necessary to get that wealth. And that's how they take advantage of all those young girls and sell them into prostitution and stuff like that. So we've had a lot of issues like that. Some of them go to like the villages. Like there was a time in like the 90s, all those Benin girls used to do a lot of prostitution. Their mothers are illiterate, they don't know nothing. So you see this guy is driving a nice SUV, smelling good, he has money. He's like, oh, I'll take her to Italy, I'll pay for her education, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this. And they will literally give money to the family, and it's not selling per se, but they will trust that kids, little 14, 15-year-old girl to that guy, and he'll take her to Italy, and next thing you know, she's a prostitute somewhere on the streets in Milan.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. In Italy, I'm in Italy, so I see a lot.
so so it's not
It's the
all the
money,
time that it's the girl's fault. Some of them they don't really know how they get there, you know.
and the problem now in Italy, prostitutes are not only in the night, that the morning shift one, the afternoon shift one, and the night shift.
Man, I watched one documentary, it was terrible. I see them on the street just walking daytime.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. They're all the time, morning, afternoon, evening. You for the all time you want, they are available.
and they have to pay back. I forgot how much. I think it's 20 or 30,000. Imagine how much sex you have to have before you can pay, pay back that money.
Yeah, that's
No,
human trafficking, but
yeah.
I didn't want to laugh. I'm sorry, but
Oh no,
it's
is
sad.
it true? And the
It's
girl
sad.
was like, she charges 20 euros or 40. I'm like, what? So just do the maths, 20 or 40 euros. How many times before you get to 20,000?
My God, that's addiction.
Yeah. So it's sad.
Yeah, for everyone joining now, we're talking about these Afropeans who want to be parliamentarians in European countries' parliament, despite their racism, but they still choose to be. They want to make a difference in the European people's country, but we switch, and we know, as we always do on these
Uh,
streams, we always have different interesting topic. We always talk about some other things. Yeah.
Kiparu, but honestly, I was thinking about this, and I think African countries need to start creating their own propaganda to dissuade their youth from risking their lives to go to Europe. Like instead of showing, because you see,
Yeah.
the reason
Yeah.
why these people end up going to Europe is because they have a survivor's bias where you only see the ones who took the chance and made it. So you think that's going to happen for you. Like you only
absolutely.
see the Francis Ngannou. Like you know the story of Francis Ngannou. But
Yeah.
for every
That's
Francis
all
Ngannou,
around in the video.
there's two, 300 other West Africans who went there and died in the sea, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
exactly,
instead of
exactly. Yeah.
you see, there's a messaging problem where we keep showing the ones that made it after taking. No, we need to start showing the 299 out of the
The success
300
story.
that failed, that died. Yeah, the failures, bro. We need to, and we need to use that in a way to scare the youth
I
from ever
mean,
taking that chance ever again.
Abby, let
I
me
think
just
the
tell you
issue
the
is,
truth.
yeah, Africans can't compete with the West when it comes to propaganda. I think the easiest solution
No, no,
would be
no.
to
I mean,
control
thank you,
what
Pod. I
media
mean within your
people
own
access.
country. No, no, no. I
I
mean
think
within your
within your
own
country.
country. In your own
Mm.
TV channel, you should be bringing up people girls who went to Italy, like the thing Nigerian prince was saying, and she had to go work as a sex slave there. You need to bring her and make her talk about her situation. You need to interview her. Like even if you have to pay her money, pay her, and she has to come and tell her experience. You need to create campaigns where you go to all of these villages where these guys are going to hustle these young girls from. You need to create these campaigns where a woman who has experienced the situation goes around and tells them the truth. I'm not saying it will cure the problem, but even if it
Yeah,
reduces it by 50%, it's
yeah.
still worth. It's still
It will
worth it.
help, but
I
it
agree.
won't solve it completely. You know why I say so? Africans are very pig-headed. Look, when I was in high school, there was this video that was circulating in Nigeria at the time. No, probably I was like in college, so internet was still, there was this video that showed a lot of black people on the Agadez Desert, all dead. They were dried up. It was circulating everywhere, and they were playing those their Islamic music in the background and stuff. Like there were like two or three of them that survived, and the Libyan government was spraying them down with hose. This my friend saw this video, sent it to me, and was like, "Look, I don't care. Come rain, come sun, come
You're going.
shine. I'm going." Why? Because he knows like three or four of his friends that have crossed the desert and were in Spain at the time, taking pictures and sending back. So he wanted that lifestyle. No matter what, nothing was going to change his mind. So you still have those
Yeah, you're
people
right.
that,
Yeah, yeah.
regardless of propaganda, will still do it.
Yeah, Nigerian prince. I didn't say that it will stop everyone from going, but even if it stops one out of every two, that's still worth it, bro.
Yeah, me, I was thinking of going with him, and I saw that video. I'm like, man, fuck no. What? They were all some. There was one guy. He sat down and he was dead, but he was sitting. I'm like, how did you die sitting? He was froze. He was just there. Rigor mortis, as he was sitting and he was dead. Like I'm like, what the heck is this? Like
And we also
kids,
need to create
women.
snitching. I think we also need to create situations where if you go illegally, like, okay, you see what the Nigerian government should have done? They should find the parents of those people, of those people that died. Bro, bring them on TV and let them cry on TV, bro. Like emotions are what sells. No, I don't mean this to be rude. No, Kiparu, I'm not saying this to be
I
evil,
get
but
what you mean, though.
if,
I'm
if they
just
come
laughing
and
because, yeah.
if they come and like show how regretful they are on TV, that will at least, even if you see, it will at least uh, put an impression on young people's parents. So the guy would still be hard headed and he would say, I still want to go. But what would these parents think?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the point, though.
this is the thing. If you ask my own humble opinion, if is we in the West, okay, I think if you look down to look people in Africa and you tell them don't come to the West, it's hard for them to believe. You understand? Tell them don't come here. I don't see anyone is going to believe because to be honest, what I've done, just the fact that I'm in the West, my friends who've been working like in the government for whatever year, they can't even do that. You understand? So I think it's for us to create that atmosphere, the environment for those people in Africa that they will not like coming to the West. They want to stay in Africa. I think that's what is going to make the difference. So what are we doing for them to make them stay in Africa? We need to have good
Yeah,
political
Kiparu, you see,
institution. Yeah.
two things can be happening at the same time. You could be trying to improve Africa, but you shouldn't. You see, Kiparu, the problem is for a long time, the don't come to Europe, don't risk your life message has been being sold by people like you. People who've gone to Europe and you've made it. You're living a comfortable life. You're living well. It should be from the people, bro. It should be from the women that working on the street in the corner, like
Yep.
the prostitute, bro, that is regretting going to Europe.
The people that went and
It
failed.
shouldn't be from you. Yeah,
Okay.
people that went and failed, that saw their friends die or whatever. The
Mhm.
successful ones, bro, you guys should keep quiet, man.
Yeah, because
Like
if
you
you're
guys shouldn't even be on
successful,
TV.
I tried to
This is the
Kiparu,
convince
thing,
you
you.
shouldn't
Abby.
even be on TV.
Abby, people who go and fail, if you go, you tell them you fail, people will ridicule you. They'll tell you we're not strong enough.
Yeah, that's
That's
true. They'll
the
make fun of
mindset.
you. That's
They
the
say,
mindset of
you were
Africans.
not strong enough. That guy, how did he make it? Why
I
didn't you
agree.
make
I
it? You
agree.
were weak. You're not strong enough.
Yeah,
You have
Kiparu,
Oh
to
my
that's why I'm
god,
saying.
that's the greatest
Kiparu, that's why
shame.
I'm saying there should be. Yeah, I know.
I'm telling you.
It's also the same way in Ethiopia. But that's why I'm saying it should be a regular, like it should be a consistent propaganda that you dish out. It shouldn't just be something you do. Like you see, when you first start a propaganda campaign, people don't believe you. But over time, it's like, when a stone is hitting a rock, when a stone keeps dripping on a rock, like the first hour, like on the first stage, it's not going to do anything. You won't even see the imprints on the rock. Over time, it slowly cracks the rock. So that's how it should be. Like you should consistently be churning out this message week after week after week after week. Within a few years, at least people would start, like saying some of the phrases that you're trying to tell them. They'll be like, "Oh, I heard it's dangerous." Like it will start sipping into the lexicon of the people. Like it will be part of the conversation. At least there'll be a second narrative now, a counter narrative. That's what you're trying to do.
We need that constant reminder.
Okay, see that incident that happened a couple of months where the Moroccan guys were shooting those Africans on the border. Do you think that has puts off a lot of those Africans from trying that?
Nigerian prince. You see what you should have done? Those guys that were shot, that message should still be talked about today. You should have brought at least 20 of those guys to come and talk about this. What happened to them. Bring one today, next week bring another one, the following week bring another one, another one. Like 20 of them should be coming on consecutively talking about this situation.
What Abi is saying is right. Some people are eventually gonna sink in, but don't just do it once.
Because
then you stop.
Nigerian prince, people have already
It also
forgotten the
depends on
Moroccan situation.
how you frame it as well. Because the issue is
Yeah,
that
people have already forgotten about
what
the
most
Moroccan
Africans do is
situation.
they're going to frame this as an issue of racism.
Exactly, they've
They're going to
forgotten.
say,
No one
"Oh,
is
the
gonna
Moroccans
forget.
shouldn't be doing this." They're not framing it in terms
Yeah,
of
exactly. That's the
this is
second
how
biggest
bad
problem. Thank you, Bacho, right?
escaping Africa is.
Yeah, that's the second biggest problem. Thank you, Bacho, right? I'm so tired of watching these dinky boats going to Europe, and these people are talking about race because they don't let them in. Who the fuck is going to let you into their country when you're coming into with dinky boats, bro? Like that's the most ridiculous. You think you can go to any African country with just a backpack on your back, nothing else? Who's going to let you in?
Yeah, and they want to use that to demonize some other people, man. So come on, we need to build Africa, bro. We need to build Africa. I was doing some research, and we're gonna talk about this: the African Union budget, bro. Comparing the European Union budget. If you see that, you just know Africa does not exist. We are just floating.
We don't exist. What is it? How much is the budget?
Okay.
It has to be like
I don't want to shock you. Please, just hold on.
10 billion,
The
50 billion.
European like budget for 2022, it was I think $168 billion. Africa is 680 million for
God damn it. not even up to a billion.
What makes it even worse is that 67 of that money is even given to them by European Union.
From European.
That even makes it worse. So we can't
do
nothing.
Nigerian
African Union. I think sometimes when the Somalis say the African Union, those people coming there they are just paying them. They might be right. So that's why you can't do nothing with that money.
You're telling me it's not even 1 billion.
It's not
a billion.
So Kanye West, despite he's broke, is richer than the whole of African Union. And we think we have an institution we don't have. So you can't do anything security. So all these things Africans stand by.
I mean, it makes sense now. Why they always have to go and meet their daddies, the European Union, before they do anything.
That's why the Chinese people can come and buy you, can build your African Union for you. We're going to talk about it's a disgrace, but you see a lot of names, a lot of factors that the African Union have. How are you going to sponsor those things? You can't. It's just
with
on
600.
paper.
That's not up to a stadium in the UK, like Emirates Stadium.
It's not. And they go every day and sit there and talk. Talking to who? What can they do? We're going to talk about that later and see how we can. We can raise this money. We can raise this money. So they're even supposed to provide 37% of their 68 million. They even can't do it.
And that's what I'm about to say. I know they won't still be able to raise the money too at the end of the day.
Wait,
What?
Kifaro, how much do you say? You said 600 million.
680 and 80, 600,
Yo,
600 and
that's
something
crazy.
million.
Nigerian prince, you know when he said we should guess, you know how much I guessed? I
Me,
was
I was
stupid
thinking
enough
maybe
to
like
say,
4 or 5 billion or something.
bro,
Whoa,
I
bro,
said,
it's not up to a
I
billion.
stupidly say 10 billion, bro. I
What?
can't believe what I just said.
It's not up. It's crazy, bro. Then European is 168 billion for
Yeah.
2022, and
So
they're
you're
even saying
telling
they
me
need to post it up.
the
That
AU
is
can't
small.
even claim to be billionaires, man?
You
Nah.
can. So, and that is an institution that we expect to provide security, education, what for Africa. I
For
think we are just
54
floating. We are not
countries.
serious for 54 countries. One person is richer than all of you, and
If
so we're going
each
to talk
country even
about that later.
contribute 1 billion each, that's 54 billion. Just 1 billion each country.
Yeah, we don't even need like to
But
like.
no.
Uh,
Nigerian prince, that's
Mm.
not possible because let's be honest, some of these
So you
countries
mean
can't
no
afford 1
country
billion.
can donate 1 billion for real? We
No, I'm
can't be
saying
that poor.
you said one. No, you said 1 billion each.
Yeah,
I don't
one
think that.
billion.
You know what I would do? I would actually say each country in Africa has to donate 1% of their GDP. That would at least
yeah,
make sense. Because a country like Nigeria would have to put in 5 billion if that's the case. A country like Ethiopia and Kenya would each put in 1 billion each. South Africa would put in 3 billion. Egypt would also put in 3 billion, and that way you can actually get to 10 billion, man.
yeah. It's crazy. It's really
So
crazy, and
countries like
yeah,
Seychelles, that the economy is like $1 billion, how much they put? 100,000.
But
I mean,
those
100
No,
million.
no, that's 10%, 10 million, 10 million.
10 million.
They're a country with only a GDP of 1 billion, though.
Hell yeah, in Africa, some is 1 billion, some 2 billion.
That's not
yeah.
possible.
This is a sum up. That's the sum of African Union budget. So you sum it up, it goes to
Yeah,
600
I
and
agree. Now I see why the Somalis have hits for the African
yes,
Union.
yes, yeah. So when you sum it up, it comes to 600
Oh
million.
Lord.
So
No,
that's
but
the
Nigerian prince, they can't say much because Al Shabaab raises more tax dollars, more money in taxes than the
For
actual
real?
Somali government, man.
So that means Al
Yes,
Shabaab is performing more better than the Somali government.
bro. You know there are people in
Oh
Somalia
Lord.
that actually leave the government held places to go to the Al Shabaab held places.
Yeah. I was watching one documentary where they were showing them they built schools and hospitals and stuff. Al Shabaab. I'm like, wow,
Yeah, and
that's
they have like food programs and so on and so forth. How do you think Al Shabaab has been able to hold their place for so long, their territory for
facts.
so long? The people there prefer Al Shabaab, man.
yeah,
That's
They're
one
that's
thing
backing
that
them.
these guys don't want to.
that's the EU. So
Bro,
Kifaru,
that's crazy, man.
take this stuff off the screen. You're embarrassing us.
the EU is the one sponsoring African Union and the Pan African Parliament.
yeah,
Bro, even then, it's only
Obviously.
600 million.
yeah, bro. Yeah, and we have
Right.
people like this one to be president in the European Union to change it. So
Mm.
it's the 67% of that money, even of the 648 million, is even given as aid to the African Union. So anything, you can't do nothing. The African Union cannot provide, cannot help Africa.
Anything.
So it's just a floating
Bro,
organization that's been
Kifaru, with
controlled.
that budget,
That's the sad truth.
what else are they doing besides just hosting meetings?
That's what they do. Everything is paper.
Paperwork. Yeah.
Everything is paperwork. Did you see that
And
guy? The video. The guy was talking that they're happy that they see. Of course, if you're going to an institution that there's no money, what can you do? People are not
Can't really
coming.
do nothing.
People don't take it serious because they know you just talk. But when they say, we need to help this thing. This country has got
Kifaru,
problem.
I just came up with a policy for your PAA that at least between 0.5% to 1% of every country's GDP has to be contributed to the AU.
Please, John. Do you have Telegram?
Yeah, I do.
Just
I'll send you
click
my
the link.
number.
Okay, send me your number. I like Telegram because it's anonymous. You don't need to share your number to people, but you can still chat. But WhatsApp, people
Yeah,
start sharing your numbers and things like that. And what on Telegram you can be, you can use whatever username you want, and it's not going to affect some
yeah.
other.
Just in case, I'll send you my second number.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
but
put
this is
it on the
The
back
one I use.
on the back chat and
this is the thing, right? I've always realized that we Africans are not. I mean, it's not that we are not competent. We don't just take things serious, right? So I mean, even if Africans were to donate or give out money or give out part of their GDP, I don't think it's gonna be a success or not, because look, the system is something that has to be changed completely. I mean, you giving money to somebody doesn't mean, oh, he's gonna do things right. We just don't do things right at all. It's not happening. It's not happening. Things that were supposed to be done are not exactly done the way we want it. So for me, I think the system, people have to know what is actually going on in Africa and have that mindset of changing things from the grassroots. If not, and then you're gonna be giving money, and then things are still always gonna be the same. That's just my own point of view.
yeah, yeah. Giving
Okay,
money is
but
one thing.
Jude,
Accountability.
right?
Go ahead.
My
Go
bad.
ahead.
So
Go ahead.
Jude, how do we fix the problem? We understand that giving out money won't change anything, right? They might still
Yeah.
embezzle the money, do what they always do, steal the money, whatever. But how do we
Yeah.
fix it? That's the thing.
No, you have to go to the mindset, right? Because first you have to change the way people think in Africa. They believe that only
Okay,
the
how do we change
Europeans and
that?
the white people can help.
1.5 billion people. How do we change that mind? That's a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
That's a lot. Another thing is revolution. You remember back in the days, the Europeans have all kind of revolution, right?
Jude,
They would
Jude,
have the industrial revolution. They have,
you're speaking in
huh?
sound bites. Give us tangible steps, bro. Tangible steps. You're
I'm giving
speaking
you
in sound bites.
tangible step. The immediate steps that you could actually do is come up with a revolution. It's only a
Like,
revolution
okay,
that
how
is
about you say, okay, dissolve African Union. Each country go and fix your own shit first before we
right.
have African Union.
Exactly, because it's not working. It's a place for all the people to go on retirement. That's just what the they don't look after you. They look only to the people that they sponsor them, and the Europeans are the ones that sponsor Africa. So
hmm
that's the people they look up to. It's not reliable enough for us to give the money. So that's just my opinion, man. Things
But at
has to
that
really
point,
change.
even
Not drag.
even if you want the African Union to dissolve, some countries might be for it, some countries might not be for it. So
you see
But
that
this is the
this is the thing. See, African Union to me, dissolving or not dissolving, the idea is we should create something that is our own is from our own liking. The African Union, I think if you're going to look deep, it was just created by some European and put Africans in there. When they did their League of Nations, they had to create some African Union for us. That's what they do most of the time. They just create this organization and put you there and tell you what to do.
so
So I don't.
basically European Union African branch. That's what African Union
Yes,
is.
exactly,
but
exactly,
but, but
exactly.
Yes, yes.
okay. Let me make this point right.
That's
See
what
for
I think.
instance. Right. See, for instance, right, in Europe, you have the European Union. Do you know they have some European countries that are not part of the European Union because there are certain outlines that these countries have to go to. If there's a European country that is attacked, they go to and discuss it. In Africa, we don't have that. Any country can come up with their own rules and regulation. If this country says yes, the other one says no, this and that, it doesn't make sense at all. You have to come up with veto powers in the
They've,
African Union
yeah,
and things
the
like that.
African Union, they've got
You-
a treaty. They've got a treaty that each and every country needs to sign and rectify. Some
Right,
have
but
signed, some
but are they going into it? Okay, they have a
Stop,
treaty that
bro.
says
No
that,
one
that
discusses that
mandated.
bullshit, bro.
Right, that's
huh?
what I'm saying. They have a treaty that mandated that African president should not go in for a 30 mandate after when they are done. Do those countries abide? Nope. And what is the African Union doing? Nothing. So they don't. There is nothing that they do. It's just a lot of talking, no action behind it. You cannot
That's
have
true.
a system that doesn't work on action. There has to be action to back what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're right,
Jude,
Jude.
like,
But at the same time, I don't think you actually want to give the AU that much power, especially given the fact
power.
that we're,
No,
we're
what you mean
currently,
that much power?
it's currently, no, I'm saying you don't want to give the AU that much power because
What
the
is
AU doesn't have any actual sovereignty.
Why? But you should give them power. They should be the oversee power in Africa. If an African country
Okay,
is messed up, they call
look,
them in order.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that once
yeah,
we have
but
national
when we
sovereignty
say,
first, though.
yeah, but Tankibot, when we say the AU has no sovereignty, the reason it doesn't have sovereignty is because it doesn't raise its own fund. That's the main. That's the only
Yeah,
reason it
yeah.
doesn't have any sovereignty. Because
You
an
can't run
organization,
an organization like that without
who,
money. It's
yeah,
impossible.
he who controls the organization is the one who funds it. So
Exactly.
Of
that's
course,
why I
yeah, yeah.
say
No, you're right.
there has to be an incentive for these member countries. They should be forced to contribute into the pool that the
I
African
agree
Union uses. So
because
I
if
say,
So
like,
it's
I
not kind
realize
of
when I
yeah,
say
but
one
money
percent.
obviously. Yeah,
No, when I
yeah.
realized that when I said 1% of the country's GDP, that's a bit too much because a country like Nigeria is going to have to start paying 5 billion, which isn't realistic. So maybe we could even do something where instead of saying 1% of GDP, like 2% of the taxes you collect. So uh,
Yeah.
or your national budget, 2% of your national budget, or something
I
like
think,
that.
yeah. Sorry for
So
cutting you short. I
if you
think
have like two,
you've given me a really good idea, Abby. So how the PAA is going to function. The members of the PAA, we need to like come together and see how much each member state needs to contribute based on whatever, so that we can use that money and like try to help some other countries that are in need sometimes. I think we have to do that. People that are going to sign and rectify being part of this little conglomerate, even if it's 5, 10 people, there need to be some kind of finance, because if we just
hmm
sit and expect that we're gonna help us charity, help us to be, we're gonna become a different version of the African Union, a Coney's version. So I think we need to, like, people need to sit down and say, okay,
But
maybe I think the simplest way to say, okay, for each F, like, it can be a simple tax system. This percentage, maybe
yeah,
zero point
exactly.
yeah,
zero zero 0.001% of anyone that's working in that country is an automatic something. They're not
like
asking you to
Kifaru,
pay. So when they pay you, like they do in the West, things already come out of your money. The tax for that, the tax for this, the tax
that's what
for
I'm saying.
that.
Kifaru is very
Yeah.
easy. All those multinational companies, look at all this Shell, Chevron in Nigeria. For all of them coming to drill that, or there should be African Union tax already included that is taken out that goes directly to the African Union. So the
Yeah, all
mining
extraction
companies,
companies.
yeah, all the
Pretty
mining
much, you
companies
could
in
just say
South
extraction
Africa,
firm.
yep, they have to
Yeah,
pay tax
extraction
straight to the
firm.
African Union. It's very easy because we have the natural resources that they
Like we
want. So
could,
tax them.
yeah, you
Okay.
could.
Good. Yes, that's
Yeah, I'm
cool.
saying, Kiparu, we can punch in the numbers and see which actually brings in the most money. But what I was also thinking is, let's say the amount of money your country has for as its budget at the end of the year. So a country like Ethiopia has like 15 billion as its budget. So if you say 1% of that has to be given to the AU, that's 150 million. If it's 2%, it's 300 million. So just from a country like Ethiopia, you're getting between a quarter to a third to almost half of what is already the African Union budget. Imagine far bigger economies like Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, and stuff contributing. And you know how much we can incentivize this? We can say, based on how much you contribute to the AU, your vote counts as a percentage of your total contribution.
Hmm.
So that
Yeah, but I
incentivizes
think
these
the issue.
countries.
But what reason would they actually have to give that much money in the first place, even before the incentive that you just mentioned? Given the fact that the AU doesn't really, it's currently a useless organization, right?
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
Because I
right.
think when you compare it to the
Italians will
EU,
say
I think the
pure
difference
meno,
is
pure meno. Yeah.
yeah.
No,
No, I
it's
think
true
like when you
because
compare it
if
to
they don't if they
the
don't see the
EU, the EU was
significance
a
of the union, they're not going to contribute. So that's true too, though.
yeah, and I think
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
I'm
issue
just
is that
saying,
when you
like, if
compare
you
it to
guys,
the EU was obviously was a union of nations that were already had a certain level of stability, a certain level of development.
yeah, the
And I
EU's
think when you
primarily,
create a
you see, this,
transnational organization between nations that don't have any sovereignty, that don't have any stability, don't have any strong institutions, I don't see how that's going to achieve very much. So it's basically a
yeah,
union of
like, I
nations
think the
that don't
problem with yeah, thank you, Bart, I get what you're saying. I think the problem with the AU is, it is a nothing organization. You see, we keep comparing the AU to the EU. The EU is a trading bloc. Primarily, it's an economic organization. We don't even know what the AU is. What does the AU even do? Like the
exactly.
AU lost its purpose when when the Monrovia and the Casablanca group, whichever side, I forgot which side was which. But when the side that actually came up with the next steps for the AU lost, the AU lost all of its direction. After that, it's just been existing for the sake of existing. Because like the AU, we keep comparing it to the EU. The EU is pretty much an economic bloc. It's a trading bloc, mostly led by the two biggest. I mean, Britain used to be part of it, but it's pretty much a French and German-led trading bloc. What is the EU? Like, no one can even say what the EU is. It's not a military organization. It's not a trading organ. It's not an economic bloc. So what is it? I think before we even start doing any other thing, what is the goal of the AU? What is the purpose of this organization?
Exactly. I think, yeah, that's good.
Like,
we need to start looking at this
Chifaru, do you
organization.
realize how retarded it is that the AU existed for longer than the EU, but only now do they even start discussing creating a trade bloc?
So what have they been discussing all this while? Like, I'm confused.
There have been a failure from point one.
What have they been doing? Just having meeting and drinking wine after the meeting.
Bro, I watched, what even makes it worse, like the Pan-African Parliament needs to be the legislature. There should be the one giving AU ideas. But bro, if you see the people that the AU expect to give them ideas, then there's no need for this thing, bro.
All of them will be like 70 years old.
They're begging them to come. They're taking their names. Like when you go to school, they're taking rota for those who have come. Then when you come, they give you some candy. That's what they're doing. Like, they're begging people to come. They say, okay, if you stay for 1 hour, we'll send you to a trip to Egypt. Those who stay for 1 hour go on the left. Those who stay for 2 hours go on the right. It is a mess. That's why when you see they're always fighting, because no one cares, because they don't have power to do anything to anybody. They don't have power to do anything to anybody. So it's just
because they have no vision. It's like Abby said, they have no vision.
Exactly.
When we look at the EU, when we look at the EU, it was an organization formed out of necessity. Obviously, it came from the League of Nations because European nations were in conflict.
Exactly.
When it comes to the EU, it's just a random. It's just African nations saying we need to work together, but for no particular reason.
I think it was created by the Europeans to easily control Africa. Where we can put all
No. Actually, Kifaru, that's not true. Kifaru, that's not true. The OAU was created mostly by these countries, like Kwame Nkrumah and stuff. They were the first leaders in the OAU. And what they wanted was an Africa that would integrate and have like one bank, like one central bank, one military, like, the type of stuff that you guys dream about. But as soon as they lost, like they wanted to truly integrate Africa into one entity, similar to how the EU is now, where it has NATO as its one military. I know all of these countries have standby militaries of their own, but they're kind of irrelevant. NATO's the number one, and they almost have one trading bloc where you cannot go as a single country from the EU and have trade negotiations with another country. Like, they go as a bloc. That's what they wanted. They wanted Africa to be one economy, like one bloc and one military and so on and so forth. But as soon as they lost, like, the African Union has just been doing nothing since then.
So why did the African Union separate? Why did they change it from? Why did they move from OAU to AU? What was do you know what the failures were?
Bro, they just wanted to rebrand. That's it. Like,
yeah, there were a lot of failures that the OAU was experiencing.
You know why it is? No. You know why it is? Have you ever seen a brand that goes through so many bad publicities, that has so many bad things happen to it, that it needs to completely change its image, and it comes out as something new? Like, you remember Monsanto used to be something else. It wasn't called Monsanto. It was called something. But because Monsanto back in the 60s, especially in Vietnam, was known as the company that created Agent Orange and was being used to deforest Vietnam and to kill people using their chemical weapons, they rebranded and became a farming, an agricultural chemical industry. So that's what the OAU changing into the AU was, because the OAU was known as a place where African dictators used to use it as a way to protect themselves. If you remember, you go back to the 80s and the 70s, these African dictators used to protect one another. So if an African dictator was deposed, he would go to another guy's country and hide there. And the OAU would never say anything. So they needed to rebrand so that they can have a sense of so they can be respected again on the global stage, because
Right,
they
but
were losing a lot of respect.
right,
Eritrea
but
have not signed, rectify, and fight anything. They don't part of this agreement here, this economic relationship, free trading thing. They don't sign anything, bro. So
yeah, but my point is, even when they rebranded, right, they were supposed to solve those problems, but come to find out, they are still doing the same thing that the
Bro,
OAU
the
was doing.
rebrand, Judah, you're
The
not getting
public
it. The
don't solve
rebrand
it. That's the
wasn't
No, I
issue.
there
got
to
it. I
solve the
got it.
problems.
Right, it was
Judah,
just
the
to cover
rebrand was
up
there.
from the old one. You know,
Yeah, the rebrand was there to give them legitimacy again on the world stage, because they had
right,
a bad name.
right.
So, and it has worked. Let's be
It was
honest. The
ineffective.
AU is now, at least in the eyes of other people outside of Africa, it's seen as a
It's respectable.
legitimate-ish
Yeah.
type of organization.
yeah, it
In the
is. It
past, like
is. But they're legitimate with
that was
no
the whole
power.
goal of the AU. That's what I'm saying. That was the whole point of the OAU changing into the AU.
Okay, we need to get into that thing. We need. Abi, you can be a good politician. You're really versed with what is going on
Oh
in.
man, I don't want to die.
No, no.
What country am I going to run as
What I say, you,
politician?
you you can influence and make policies and put people want to be in power. Not
Just
everyone.
stay in South Africa before you go to Ethiopia in your motorcade when you're riding down the street.
No, Abi has got no problem
Someone,
going to Ethiopia. He's just
no, I
he's
go there,
game.
but Kifaru, you have to understand.
Man,
Ethiopian politics is
politics.
run based on tribal
I
identity,
know, I
man. It's
know,
not
I
run
know.
on.
But
You
You
see,
realize,
when
Kifaru, these guys have no vision. All they do is they just say, "Look, I'm part of this ethnic group. I'm going to look out for the interest of this ethnic group," and that's how they get to power.
you, s-
but
you
but
see,
but that's always more like most African country. It's like that. But that is a problem if you have really massive ethnic group. I've noticed that if you have like really big ethnic groups, they tend to do like that. But I think,
Kifaru, it's a problem.
but I
Kifaru,
think,
it is a
I
problem.
think, Abi,
Do you
I
realize
get
the
it. I
two?
know. Just let me say this, but I know there are people that are tired of all this instability, insecurity. They just want the country to come together and live. Those are the kind of people we need to
see,
look
man,
for.
look, see what is happening. Okay, a few days ago, our Paul Biya just celebrated 40 years in power. You see, 40 years in power. So, I mean, you see, people are just scared. Nobody is scared of dying, man, because we just assume that politics is a dirty game. It's just, oh, man, it's sickening, man. 40 years, 1982,
Okay, it's good.
2022.
Okay.
Man, yeah, it's crazy, bro. I mean, Africa, man.
I
Africa,
think,
man.
yeah,
Who has been there longer? Him or
this word where we
Museveni?
say, bro, like just imagine everyone on this panel is politician in their home countries. Things is going to change.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. You cannot change politics the way it is in the system. You see what happened to Liberia, right? People expect that George Weah could be a good person, do a lot of things for his own country. His people were looking up to him, but he came to power as a former footballer. You could not even solve the problem of your own football, and your own son is playing for. I mean, these are the kind of things people look up to you. Yet you come in, you cannot do the same. You cannot do it. We don't. We are incompetent to do the work, man.
It even built one
No,
stadium in
no,
like
not.
Prince,
just
Not
sports.
like,
created that many.
how can your own son play for another
No,
country, and you
no.
have a football team in your own country that your son can represent? He's calling your own country a shithole. I mean,
He
look,
grew up in America.
your own. Come
In
on, man.
America.
Huh?
Fuck, man. You know why? He grew up in America. Claro, he grew up. The son
What you
grew up
mean
in
he grew up
America.
in America? There are a lot of mixed kids that play for Africans, even though they were born in America. So a Chinese born in Africa is an African now. If
Can
a
play for
Chinese
Africa,
person is
yes.
born in Africa, is that
Yes.
Chinese person an African?
And
Sandra,
Chinese
no, don't say yes.
and who are in South
Wow.
Africa for all his life in the South African team. So or Botswana team or whatever team it is. What I'm saying is, I get your point where it's not normal, but I'm saying that it's within the law, right? I get what I'm saying is he grew up in America and he qualified to play in America. And if he wins the World Cup, he gets a lot more benefits if he won
Musanda, his
for
father
fucking
is president. He is not. I don't have a problem if he's an ordinary person. Your father is a president in a country that controls football. He should fix the state of his country, develop it. Has his son play for his country? What are you talking about? So, who do you want
the Liberians to play for if his own son cannot play for his own country? Come on, man.
Hey, but I think you're too fixated on the son. I think the son can do whatever he wants. That's his life. The country is something else, and yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
look, you know what my thing with you is? You keep talking about fixing. On what? Fix what specifically? I don't think any of these African governments is just deciding that people be poor. They just don't make economic. What's this word? There's a nice word for say. Is it fiscal or something? Eddie, can you help me on this? There's a nice word they use in economics where you actually give a plan on what you're gonna do as time goes forward. I think what happens most of the time is that you have people that gain thinking it's out of decision. They think it's a decision thing that give and do not give. But no, sometimes governments do not have the power to give to the entire population, and no one is addressing this. It's just the idea that it's a decision thing. People are not deciding to live in shit or country for the most part. It's economic circumstances that put them there. And my question is, what are you as a citizen in Africa doing to help the government make better decisions? Because I always hear about what they're not doing.
Don't do that, bro. Stop that cap.
No, I want to finish. Wait. Africans never talk about what they're not doing. And that's it. No, I'm just saying it's economic.
You can do whatever you want. You cannot change the system that is going on in Africa. Me and you can construct house. We can do this. We can build. We can do one or two things. But that's not the essence of changing our Africans. That will not change. Those are all
Judah, let's ask him. No, Judah. Let's change it on him. Musanda, what are you doing to stop load shedding in South Africa? What are you personally doing?
Exactly.
But here's the point. Here's what I meant, right? To help the government. You're talking about one thing. No, I'm not diverting, man. I'm not answering his question. He's asking me about load shedding. Load shedding is not the only problem in South Africa, right? So the question should be, what am I doing in general to help South Africa in general, right? Obviously, I can't do anything for load shedding because I don't work at ESCOM or one of that. Exactly. But what I can do is maybe, I don't know, give up. No. I'm saying I don't have a child. So first of all, I'm not having a child, and now I'm not.
So who's not doing it?
Yes, at this point.
I don't have a child, so now I'm not giving. Can I finish? I don't have a child, so now I'm not getting any government grants, and now the government can focus on the 350 they could have given me to something else. I have my own job, and I have my own house, and I pay taxes to the African government. That is what I am kind of doing, like a lot of South Africans in general, right? I can get that it's not a lot. I'm saying that I'm thinking about how can I at least, and I think more Africans need to think like that, because being angry and all of these things is not going to help you with anything. Let's first ask, what are we doing, right? That is that may contribute, not is the full contribution, but may contribute. That's all I'm saying, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Is there anything wrong with that? To ask, what am I?
My question is, who is not doing it? That's my question. Who is not doing it? I think every one of us is doing something. I mean, if you live in the diaspora, you're actually sending money back in one way or the other. That's helping in raising the economy up.
I think you're misunderstanding Musanda's point, to be honest. I think what Musanda is saying is that leadership plays a component, but the situation of the nation is not simply down to bad leadership. It's also down to the quality of the population, right? A good leader with a terrible population is not going to really achieve very much.
But you cannot do anything when it comes to the system. The system is something that has to be a revolution. Me and you cannot do anything.
Thank you, Bud. Of course. Look, no one is arguing that. You also need a cooperative population. But it's like when we're talking about media manipulation and what people think, what public perception is. Yeah. Is it there because of what the people genuinely think? Is it because of media propaganda? So are the people the way they are?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Are the people the way they are because that's just who they are, or is it also because of government policy? Like, could you say that poor governance also leads to degenerate behavior from the populace? Because when they see the government doesn't care about them, it also creates a level of distrust amongst the people, which may lead to more corruption, etc., and etc. Like
it's a mutually
the corruption case.
Bad government.
Yeah, it forces one another. So what you can do is, personally, you can do what is expected of you. Live according to the law, pay your taxes, and try and maybe donate to certain causes or so on and so forth. But at the same time, that's not going to solve the major problems in your country. That's what I'm trying to tell Musanda.
Of course.
Nope. That won't solve inflation. That won't solve insecurity, terrorism, none of that. You know.
Yeah, it boils down to politicians. I'm a strong fan. I'm a strong believer that we just
Yeah, but look, politicians are a reflection of their people. That's all I'm saying. At the end of the day,
No,
I mean, I
listen,
get
stop, bro.
just
They're
people like
both
this people end
representations
up
of
on.
one another.
Fine, man. Fine, man. These people are just selected, and or they just go on top, and people just hate them in general. That's why they're on top. I mean, we can play this game all along. I don't know if I was talking to Caesar something about you were talking
I
about
agree with you, Sandra.
what's that guy's name?
I guess
Manfiza, he's Nigerian, the Nigerian guy. He was talking about if the wrong person wins in Nigeria, there could be civil war. What is the Buhari? He was talking about Buhari and how I'm like, okay, if this guy Buhari is so hated by Nigerians and all of these things you're saying, why did he get 2 terms? I mean, you had the NSAR thing, but yet the guy is still there at the end of the day. I get it. NSAR happened in 2020 and he got re-elected in 2019. But the fact that he's still getting in and they put there means that there are certain people that are backing him
Musanda,
up. I hate him.
Musanda,
At
do you,
my own point is this.
Musanda, do
Governments
you
are
think?
at the end
Listen,
of the day.
do you think the Nigerian people can overthrow the Nigerian government? The Nigerian government will burn Nigeria down to the ground before that happens.
Exactly.
They will say,
Musanda,
"I'm
have you
attack.
ever read
I'll burn
Nigerian
people
history?
down."
Musanda, have you ever read Nigerian history? You know how many Nigeria only became a democracy, what, 20 years ago? Maximum
99,
20 years ago. Do you think the
99.
Niger Delta people, exactly, do you think the Niger Delta people are okay with their place being polluted to the extreme? So that
Listen,
international oil. You remember who was the Nigerian prince? Who was the comedian? How many activists do you think they have killed in that region? How many protesters do you think they have killed in that region?
Sarawiwa, yeah, they killed
Remember the
them.
comedian they killed? Bro, this guy was the equivalent of Trevor Noah. Like he was the Sunday, the night TV kind of special. Like he was the most, what would you call them? The people that have their late night shows and so on.
Let
Like
me give
TV
context.
hosts
I mean,
and
let
they
me
used to
give
kill
context.
TV journalists and all those people back
That
then.
American Nigerian Caesar, the guy called Caesar, the American
Mhm.
Nigerian guy. What he said to me was, "Yo, man, in Nigeria, the right president has to
Bro, that
win
guy is
now."
an Americana, bro.
He,
You can
no,
all tell
come
he's
on
not
now.
Nigerian.
He
That guy's
lives.
never been to Nigeria.
Listen now, he lives in America. He's just going off what his people
Exactly.
are saying. He doesn't live.
Exactly.
There is no
This
war.
guy's talking
Even
to a
if a Fulani becomes president in Nigeria next year, there will be riots here and there. But once the military show up and they kill like 5, 6, 8 people, that's it. It's a wrap. Everybody goes back to their house and go and complain and
Musanda,
go
do
online
you
and start
realize
crying.
over the years how many people have been killed in the Niger Delta for protesting against the pollution of the? No, Musanda, I feel like no, Nigerian prince. Let me just say this, Musanda. You realize you are very privileged to be living in a democracy. You guys here in South Africa still talk about Marikana like it was a life-changing event, and bro, that should happen 12 years ago. You realize in some African countries, Marikana would be forgotten in a week because that type of shit is regular. If you protest, you're gonna die.
Yep.
Yeah, I get that. So they need a coup. So that's the only way you can take such a government out. At the end of the day, that's all I'm saying.
Bro, even with a coup, niggas are gonna die, bro. It's gonna be bloodshed.
Yeah, of course.
But this the cool thing. I'm not a fan of coup because we have not really seen that coup have solved any problems. Have they really solved some problems in countries?
Yes, but I'm a fan
If your
of
coup
Kudo,
doesn't
man.
have a vision, no.
I'm
If
a
your
fan
coup
of
doesn't have vision, Judah,
right.
if your coup is not led by people with a vision of what they
Exactly.
actually want their country to be, all it's going to be is just a bunch of gangsters taking over your country once again.
Yeah, but the thing
That is worse.
If your coup is
In
based
today's
on
world, right, you can't really
ethnicity,
have
oh,
revolution
this
in today's
ethnic
world.
group, I want to take them out and put my own ethnic group, it won't change anything.
It
The other
does.
this is
ethnic
It won't
group,
change anything.
yeah,
but this
the
is the
ethnic
question
group
that
will come and take you
Foreign
out.
nations
Ooh.
have interest in your
but this
nations. I mean, you can't really have
but this is the question.
revolution.
This is the question that you should be asking yourself. Why are there coups in Africa? There are coups in Africa because certain things are not into people are not following the rules and regulations. Yeah, if you come ask yourself, ask what happened, like all the coups that have happened, ask yourself why did they happen? Go and see their track record. There was one thing that happened. There was a president that came in power, changed the constitution, wanted to stay in power, went over a term limit, and all these things could not, and that's just what it is. When you
And
Yeah,
solve all
yeah,
these
but Judah,
problems in
when
a
you say change the constitution, who even decided initially on that constitution? There's a reason
exactly,
why Africans don't respect their country's
yeah.
constitution.
If you
Who
you
gave you that constitution, bro?
you ask an African to quote you two, I don't know, two parts of their constitution, they don't even know what you're talking about.
No, no.
When they talk about constitution, we don't take any, we just take things for granted. What's constitution? My country, I've got a constitution. If they ask me to name one article of my constitution in my country, I will start babbling.
Kifaru, you're not alone. I don't either. My dad is a lawyer. I've never even opened the constitution before, so
Exactly,
I
exactly.
don't even
So
I don't even know my rights if I even have rights. So,
because
so
it does not matter. It does not matter. You understand? It does not
Yeah,
matter what
look,
you say
Kifaru,
because the
even if
president can change it
there's no need to
anytime.
know the constitution because no one follows it. Like,
Exactly.
imagine trying to tell a police you have rights. In Africa, bro, the only people that have rights is if you have money. Like, everyone knows
if you
this.
obviously
So
have money,
the constitution is not
look,
important.
you just brought up something that I remember. I was in my final year, so I was doing my project. Musanda, listen,
When you're in
Musanda,
your car,
Musanda, listen, Musanda, listen, relax. Let me tell my story. I was coming back from school. I had my laptop. I was just 6 hours typing and doing research. Police saw me with a laptop and he arrested me. That was all he needed to do was see me, young guy, laptop, criminal, Yahoo boy, and he took me to jail. That was all the proof he needed. I was explaining, I'm a student, showed him my student ID, showed him my project I was working on. He didn't want to hear none of it. Had to pay at the time equivalent like $50. Imagine me, student broke, to release my laptop, to bail my laptop, and to bail myself. I spent close to like 100 before he let me go. He knew I was a student, but he still extorted me. So tell me how that constitution works. You see?
Yeah, I think politics. I think what happened in Africa, they took us from nowhere and they just had to entrust this their own way of organizing their society, and we are trying to learn how to be like that, and it is definitely not working for us. I think we need to come together and sit down and decide how things will work for us, how we need to sort out our differences, because there are, but that does not mean we can't live together. We need to really sit down and say, oh man, these people just brought us. We didn't sort out our differences, because you go to some African countries, some tribes were still fighting with another tribes. They didn't sort out their differences, but they had to bring them together. They didn't settle their scores. So these are the kinds of things that cause some kind of issues, political unrest in African countries. So we need to really need sit down among ourselves and work together, because I think there's more benefit of living in a country as a bigger union than splitting into smaller ones. That's how I
see,
believe. If we
see
can make it work, it's the best thing.
Kifao, look, we can make it work, but
Yeah,
this
look,
is the thing. There are certain things that we hold upon, right? Even this constitution that people are saying, most of this constitution that we use in Africa are European constitution. Africans have never written their own stories or constitution to rule their people. The system of government is not working. Everything is not working. Forcing people to live together has never ever been my own part. It has ever, look, people are suffering. Marginalization is a reality in Africa. There are certain groups of people that have been marginalized based on the country that they belong to. And if your government do not take this into consideration, then things will always be chaos. In the UK, if the UK is realizing that Scottish or Scotland, they can give them referendum to become a country. Canada did the same thing to the French Canadians who wanted their own country. They gave them a referendum and they decided to stay. Other countries in
yo, but
Ethiopia, they have an
Judah, you're
open
being
system where country
Judah,
people
you're
could
being
break out and
no, no,
become a
no,
country,
Judah, you're
right?
being a bit disingenuous with those examples because the only reason England gave Scotland the opportunity for that referendum and Canada for the French that referendum is because they had a feeling that the referendum would say no at the end of the day. If they knew that that referendum was going to say yes, they first did polls to find out what the actual election results are going to be. I remember even in Canada, like they did initial votes, initial polls, and
Right.
the results that came in were so close they were panicking near the end, bro. So they thought that giving them a referendum, they were going to just vote no in a large enough number, and that they were going to just go do away with it. Why do you think Scotland right now is asking the EU, I mean the UK, for another referendum
For another
to leave
referendum,
the UK?
why? Because the first one, the one that they had was a flaw. There was a flaw in it.
Because they thought that they were going to remain in the EU if they stayed with the UK. But now that they
Right?
didn't, they're asking the EU to leave again. You think the UK is going to give them a second referendum?
I mean, but if you don't give it, then that's where you create problems
Judah, they
because
won't.
people are going to start fighting.
They won't.
Judah, they won't. Literally every prime minister from the UK that keeps coming in and says, look, we already gave you one referendum, we're not giving you a second one, at least for a few generations.
But my
Boris
problem is,
Johnson just told them that.
but my problem is Africa have to let freedom of speech. People have to emphasize their freedom. Like they have the right to ask what they are. You cannot be ruling Africa with a dictate, you know.
Judah, show me one African country that has broken up and been successful. Show me one.
Exactly. There's none.
I mean, but tell me which country that is
Show me
still
one.
united. Tell me which country that is even with the
Bro,
way it is. You think it's
Judah,
changing?
literally the poorest countries in Africa are the ones that have been divided. Eritrea, South Sudan. Would you want to live in Nigeria or Eritrea and South Sudan? Be honest with yourself.
I don't know, man. Every country just have a problem.
Nah, stop.
Nah,
Bro,
Joe,
Judah,
just be
stop.
honest once.
Be realistic, man. Would you rather be in South Sudan or Nigeria?
He knows is
Would
Nigeria
you
is
rather be
going
in
to
South
take
Sudan?
it.
Yeah, he's just look. Judah's like, you know what Judah's saying? It's like you come with a bump on your arm, and then Judah tells you just amputate it, bro. Like he doesn't give you any bandages. He doesn't clean it up. Like, you know what? It might get infected. Just amputate your arm. Like obviously the extreme is not going to work.
The
But
simple
Kifaru,
phrase
he is
that
right in a certain sense that we need almost every African country needs to come together and at least do what South Africa did, even though South Africa's system they say is flawed. We need to come sit down and write our own constitutions, bro. Like every tribe needs to be represented, every civil group needs to be represented.
talking about South
And
Africa.
they
So one South Africa told me they're lucky because they have white people. So all of them now they have something to talk about. He said if white people were not in South Africa, it would still be the same as other African countries. He said just
yes,
that are white people now, all of them can
That's a fact. Yeah.
click together and say,
Have
okay,
one main
white man
threat, one main enemy that they all can go up against.
exactly. So it's creating stability among the black people. So
And
he
that's a
said,
weird thing, right? I mean, it's true. That's true, right? But it's the weird thing because, I mean, you guys are here, you guys talking about the enemy and whatnot, but I'll be honest with you, I don't even think the way you make it sound, think about
Musanda is disrespectful.
Musanda, is it switch from internet?
like people. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say I want a job at SAPS. Right? I'm not gonna say, oh, the reason I get a job is because of that. I mean, I would think I can get a job because Mr. or that
Musanda's internet is really from the part of
black guy on top. That white people are not.
your internet is not.
No. What I'm saying is no.
Musanda is using dial-up.
The reality is this. The reality is yes. I don't think white people do, right?
Yeah,
I don't think white people do play a part in socializing.
I think he finally the internet.
Hey, gents, I'm just trying to show you that I'm also in South Africa. My internet is not that clapped. South African internet is not that bad.
So he has got the cheap internet.
Why do you have to call me out to tell me that, bro?
Musanda is staying in the township. You are staying in Johannesburg. That's right.
I'm protecting the image of South Africa.
It's the white man. It's the white man. Look, I'm not pretty sure that people are just gonna start fighting in jail if white people. Well, I don't think they can leave. To be honest, I think like you guys give a lot of white South Africans too much leverage in the point that they can just leave and go anywhere. I don't think they even have the capability to do that per se. So it's kind of a weird scenario to say, you know.
Musanda, you just said if a Chinese person is born in Africa, he's an African. So I'm so confused with you, man.
I said he could play for Africa. I didn't say he's an African. I didn't say he's South Africa. I said he could play for South Africa. He was born in.
No, you didn't say he was.
Yes,
African.
he could play for South Africa in a team. I'm saying legally could do that. He could do that.
No, but
no,
I think we have to
question you.
No, Judah. Let's be real, Judah. I think when it comes to the white South Africans, it's a different thing because these people have been here in Africa for now like 300 years now. like 200 plus years
Right.
they've
So
been
they
in
are
Africa.
Africans, right?
Like they can't.
So they are Africans,
No,
right?
they can't even recall. Judah, yes,
No,
to a
they're not
certain extent they
Africans.
are.
They can't just leave in jail. It's what.
Yeah, they can't leave is the thing.
Yeah,
Like
but
you
if
see
they leave, where they go?
No,
Well, that's
the
the
politician that went to Italy when he was 19. That guy saying he's African is ridiculous because he has relatives that are still in Africa. Like these people cannot even
right.
recall their ancestors from Europe, bro.
So my point though, let me ask you a question, right? Now you want to take me back to African Americans that call themselves Africans. So if these people are Africans, so African Americans are not Africans, right? Because they don't trace
Judah,
themselves to
Judah. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say these people are almost stuck in the middle because they no longer going to be accepted back into Europe, or they don't have any of their European like culture or lineage left, but they also are not ethnically African. So they need they need a group of their own. Like they are
Yeah,
not African, but they're also not European.
do you know
They're almost
Australia back in the days, Australia was giving them free land over in Australia because there was a problem that happened in South Africa where most of them were living, right? And Australia was giving them free. Australia considered them as Australians.
Free land. They were inviting them, but giving them free land, that's a lie, Judah. That you just added a lie. In fact, I saw a video on that shit
What you
with
mean?
Australia.
I mean, they're giving them free land. They consider them as people that as their brothers.
They didn't give them
Australia was
bro.
just
Stop.
what the US did. They're
Judah,
just trying to
you're exaggerating, bro. In fact, Musanda, we all know most of them returned back, bro. Stop the cap.
Yeah, that's the thing.
More than half of them returned back.
Like, bruh, and it makes it sound like Australia just want to give them this. They were killing chickens for a living. I saw this one lady. She left here being a clerk for APSA to cutting down chickens' head for a living in Australia. That's what she came back. Like their lives is shittier whenever they go out. And that's a
Musanda,
fact. You know.
Fix the internet, bro.
Look, Judah, all I'm
What
trying to
about
say
now?
is if you ever meet up a white South African and you meet a European, you can clearly tell these niggas are not Europeans anymore.
Yeah.
Like they are white. Of course,
No, you're right. I had a friend
Judah.
who was white. Yeah, I got your point, bro. No, you say the truth. I had a friend that was white South African. I mean, over here in the state, he was cool. So, I know that they claim they're Africans. You cannot. They were born there. They grew up there. So I have no problem.
Just
The
no
point
land.
that I have
Bro,
is when African Americans,
Judah,
when African Americans say they are American. Go ahead.
I would call them ligers. Like when a tiger and a lion mate, it creates like a liger.
Right.
I think it's called a liger. And that liger, he's a loner because he can't go and hang out with the lions, but he also is not accepted amongst the tigers. So he pretty much ends up alone. So that species ends up alone by itself.
Is their culture not European, or is it like very
Bro,
distinct?
it's not. It's distinct, bro. Like even the way they act, like
but
it's not.
But Abi, do you know in America they will call them white?
They're white.
They are white.
So they are not
white.
Africans.
Judah, we're not denying that. They. Bro, Moroccans are considered white when they come to America.
Exactly.
That's a fact.
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
I'm not saying that they're African. I'm just saying they're not European as well. Like they're almost in a space of their own. They're like in a middle ground. They're on the fence.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I got your point. So we should at least give them a pass.
I think ignore them as long as they're not a problem. Actually, when we talk about Africa, I don't know why people focus on white South Africans that much. They're only like 5 to 6. They're only like 6 to 8% even in South Africa. In the population, in the grand scheme of Africa, they are irrelevant, bro. Let's just be honest.
But this is because they were. But out of a sudden, they were fighting to have their own country. They wanted to take Cape Town?
Bro, that's not even real. That's just an internet movement. Come on, man. That's not even.
Even on YouTube, go on YouTube and type it. People were having views, and even the TV stations were talking about it in South Africa.
Judah, stop. That was just an internet
go on YouTube
movement.
and check it out. I'm talking even your major. How do they call it?
I've seen the movement.
Okay.
No
I
serious
mean,
person was
if
taking
your
that shit
TV
seriously.
station were talking about it, it means it was something that it made news. People
It
were
could
talking
become a
about
problem
it.
in the future.
So
Right.
Even if
People
now
were
big
there's
talking
nothing
about it.
serious, in the future it could become a problem.
Right. If your
Especially if they
TV
get the
station
FWS
backing
were
of
talking
a
about it.
European nation.
Foundational white South African, right?
Right. I mean, because your TV stations were
look,
talking about it. You cannot say it's fake news
Judah,
of which your main TV were talking about it.
no, Judah, just calm down for a second. I didn't say it was fake news. What I said is no serious person was even discussing that as a political possibility at any point.
So it was
Even
an
when it was on the
insignificant
news,
movement, basically.
yeah, even when it was on the news, it was just like, oh, look, it was like to gain ratings. It was like, oh, look at this radical movement that has started, and so on and so forth.
No.
Like no one serious took it seriously, bro.
But if
It's
that
like
ever
when the
happened, man,
far
that's
right.
gonna be
No,
crazy
no,
to
no.
have a
It's like,
white country now.
yeah, bro, it can't happen. Like, who's going to support that?
Yeah, guys. Yeah,
Which
I'll be
country?
closing.
Which
I
I'll be
country?
mean,
closing
if the
it.
Europeans
I'll be
start
closing
Judah,
it
discussing
think,
in
think
8
about this. Right?
minutes.
Which country internationally is even going to recognize them? Even European countries won't recognize them because they don't want their, their African countries to start riling up against them. Like they don't need Cape Town, bro.
Yeah, guys. I'll be closing in 8 minutes. So it's been almost 3 hours.
Yeah, Kifaru,
Thanks
let me just,
for coming. Yeah,
yeah,
you still
all
closing
I
for
wanted to
eight
say was,
minutes. I'll
Kifaru,
give you
the problem in
minutes.
Africa is none of these people have vision, whether it's the AU, it's an organization without a vision, without any aims or goals, whether it's our respective governments, they have no vision. And it really
Yeah.
starts from the people. Like, there's no African ideology. Like, these people like to say Pan Africanism, pro Blackism, but when you even strip down what Pan Africanism is, what is the ideology behind it? Like, they just
It
say,
has
let's
no
just come
content.
together. Okay, how are we going to come together? What is the economic structure of us coming together going to look like? What is the political structure going to like? They don't answer these hard questions. So even our politicians, can you name me one politician that has a economic like that has an ideology that they can call their own? Even the ones that run around Malema, well, this guy doesn't have an ideology that he can call his own. So if we don't start from the like intellectual side of things, we will
Yeah.
never go anywhere.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. You just said something about the constitution of these countries. They just write it and people just they don't use it because they know it's not important. And yeah, we need to really get involved and understand things from the bottom how things need to work. If not, we will just be floating and
Domi-
nothing is going to change.
Right.
Yo,
Yeah,
peace out,
welcome
Let me give my
Dr.
own
Kifaru,
K.
point.
and bye to everyone on the panel.
Thanks,
Yeah, we
Abi.
have
Let me give my own point. Right. This is the thing. See, you show that there's an African that is fighting to be a member in an African Union, so in the European Union, and this is why Africans are losing that spirit of nationalism. We don't have it. We want to go over and change European mindset, but we are not going to Africa to change our mindset. We feel comfortable living in their midst, right? But not in African midst. So will you have the same problem if a European person goes to Africa and runs for a parliamentarian in your country? Will you have that same problem? I don't think. I mean, but I'm just peace, man. I don't know what to say, but it's just confusing and stuff. People Africans should have that spirit of nationalism. Where they come from, they should be proud of their home countries, man. Seeing people taking nationalities in various countries, playing for Europeans, wants to change their own laws and stuff, is not gonna suit us. We have to create a psychological safety environment for our people that have traveled to come back and develop Africa. That's just what it is. If not, then you're gonna be having this brain drain, moving and not coming back. So yeah, thank you, Kifaru, and I want to thank the people on the panel as well. And it was nice coming on the panel. Thanks. Bye.
thank you for coming. Stay tuned, like the stream. We always appreciate your coming here. Thank you very much. We do appreciate.
No problem. All right.
Yeah, we've got Dr. K and welcome, Dr. K. What have you got to say? Are you going to be a parliamentarian in the UK's parliament? Are you going to go there and become and fight for racism?
Nah, I don't actually believe racism exists. So not my problem. But I will say that I think we should invite some white people to African countries, because if we invite them, they're going to help us fix the problems. It can be like South Africa. What do you think?
Well, I
Invite
don't
maybe
know.
Chinese people, not white.
Yeah, but
When
if
when
you
you say
invite,
when you say invite them, you mean like
Okay, I mean, have like low taxes, like half the taxes. For example, in Ireland, right? They invite big companies to go there, so companies can do more. Basically, more companies go there, so people get paid more. So if we
yeah,
say,
but
for example,
we're talking, yeah,
Microsoft.
business wise. I get you, but so when you say invite them to build your political establishment for you,
No,
that's
no,
what I
no,
don't
no, no, no,
understand.
no, no.
So you mean business
For business,
wise?
business,
Of
yes, yes,
course,
yes.
of course, we should always get into business with people who are doing well, so we can learn. I think that's a no argument.
The issue
But
politically is, I've lived here in Kenya for like over 1 year now. Um, the issue is corruption. Like, I know United thinks corruption is not a problem, but I'm even in my problem because of corruption. Everyone here is so corrupt to a point whereby, when I say corrupt, as in, it's like a body movement. It's a unconscious, parasympathetic movement in themselves. They're just corrupt, and I don't mean corruption in the that Nigerian corruption. The Nigerian corruption is fine. I mean, as in just bad people corruption. So first, you have to get rid of the evil nature
Nigerian
of
corruption is fine, guys. Really.
and Nigerian corruption is like,
Yeah.
they just they see something and they want to exploit
Nah.
it to make money. That's okay. No, I mean as in the Nigeria boy, not Nigerian as in Nigerian country. I mean,
Okay.
you know what I mean. That
Mm.
that foxiness like, of Nigerians, right? That's okay. I mean proper corruption whereby, like I mentioned before, um, that's one thing. There's another thing. Everyone is a thief. And what I've noticed is, and I've been, I shouldn't be saying this out loud, but because I know some specific cases. What happens is, if you're not corrupt, let's say you're part of a government, let's say you are part of a passport and visa issuing. You see someone in Kenya, mostly it's Muslims who get, Muslims and also people like me, who get sort of discriminated against from getting a simple service. So they see your name, you're a Muslim, your name is Abdi. What they start doing is they take your passport, they put it onto another site. It's already done like 10 months ago. They don't tell you anything. They want you to go there and tell them, hey, where's my passport? They're like, this. Then they want you to go and give them $400. Now, what happens is when you join these government institutions, they come and tell you, we've got this plan. We're going to go and everyone's going to get a share. If you refuse, they kill you.
You get picked out.
That's actually what happens. So the issue is you're how do I say this? When you have a cancerous system, when you try to fight it like I did, you end up actually being harmed by that system. So it's actually a very, very difficult problem how to solve this in government based corruption, because if you refuse, they kill you. I mean, or they will find other ways to make sure that you don't tell on them. The point is, the operational, the modus operandi is to be corrupt, and if you're not, you will suffer like I did. So it's a really tough problem, and the issue is everybody's corrupt over here in Kenya. Everyone. I said like a baby. It's in their spirit. It's in their blood. So
Oh, the
how do we fix
culture.
it? Yeah, it's exactly. You know what? Like I remember, like when I used to be a passport bro a couple years ago, I used to go to Ethiopia. Do you know why I went to Ethiopia instead of Kenya? Yes.
For the Mahabashas.
No, it wasn't actually because of that, right?
Guys,
Funny enough,
get Habasha loving. Habasha.
no, it wasn't actually. The main reason I went there was because I already abstracted that these people are less corrupt than Kenyans, and I was correct. Every experience I've had over there is people are generally better human people. In Kenya, I could just abstract these are westernized people who are still in that sort of money mentality. So my point I'm trying to say is, right, if you look at Habesha culture, it's very different from Kenyan culture. Kenyan people in general are just thieves and corrupt. So that's the point. It just is. And
yeah,
you can't fix that problem because everybody's corrupt. So Kifaru, you have to figure out how to either you create a political institution whereby you select people who you've trained and then we take over. But this whole, I don't know, man. All I can say is people here are extremely corrupt. Every single person. The pastors,
yeah,
the children, the
because
babies.
yeah, that's true. That's what I've seen for a long time that work. Because I understand if you get into politics now and you don't you don't do corruption, you have problems even with your own family
With your
members.
family
You know,
members.
I've
Yeah.
seen people like who they attack. Are you? Do you think you're the one that's going to change this country? Take your own money and leave. You know, that's a problem that we need to look for people that sees the future. You know, it's a process gradually. You know, some people don't really care about having money. They just want peace and their country to come together. They might be there, but they think they don't have any backings. But gradually, if you can get people who actually think like that and create something, and they can be in their own space and just create something for themselves and start working together from that little nuclear and they grow big. That's my idea. You can't go change people now. It is impossible. So to me, just abandon them, let them do whatever they're doing, and you build something that is pure from scratch and keep expanding and trying to replace them. That's the idea. You can't tell someone
But you're
don't do
saying it's
this.
the entire nation. Yeah, Kaiser's
Um,
saying Kaiser's saying it's an entire nation problem.
yeah, but it's culture. I think culture can be structured. You know, I just give us example. Okay, you know, in Italy, you're in Italy. In the south of
Yeah.
Italy, they don't use seat belt. These people have actually they have T-shirts that with the drawing of seat belt. You understand? It's for them,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
is wrong. Like putting on a seatbelt, they don't like it. But in the north, just because the culture that they put on seatbelt is like part of their culture. But someone told me because they enforce the law in the north so much, if you don't have a seatbelt, the police will stop you and fine you. So they've been doing that for over and over and over. Now these people, it becomes a second nature for them. It's not that because they wanted it, but the policies have made them change their kind of custom. So I think you got the idea what I'm trying to say. If you have policies and you keep on enforcing it like over and over and over, it will come a time that people will be scared and they start behaving the way you want them, and you can gradually change people's
Yeah, of
culture.
course. Yeah, I
Just
understand what you're saying.
yeah,
But I guess my point was that if you're like obviously one organization amongst a nation in a nation where corruption, for example, is the norm, it's more likely that your organization is going to change for the worse than the country changing for the better. So I guess you can't start from like small. A cultural issue has to be dealt at the national level. So you need someone with power that actually is going to have control over all the
yeah,
various institutions of society.
exactly. You must have power to change it. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you feel
basically.
yeah. Well, thank you guys for coming. So do you have a last word about this Afropeans, Negropeans trying to change Europeans Parliament? You know, trying to change your policy, trying to represent Africa, or what do you think about them? What's your last word? You know, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing, or some what's it called? Misplaced priority? Yeah.
I think they're just puppets for imperialism. That's the way I see it.
Okay. Thank you for coming. Thank you, bud. I hope to see you, catch you some other time on
Yeah,
this
for
live
sure.
stream. I really do appreciate. Yeah. Thank you. Grazie, fratello mio. Ci vediamo.
Yeah, grazie. Ciao, ciao.
You see, Kifaru, you're one of them too. Black Italiano. So how
I'm,
Yeah.
I,
how
I'm
you
not.
how
I'm,
you how you different from this Nigerian man right here on your on your what's it called?
yeah, but
Huh?
he's a member of the far right. He want to deport all Nigerians to Nigeria.
It makes
He's a far right politician.
Uh,
Mega Todd. He wants to deport all
it
illegal
was it
Nigerians.
was it was the white man and white woman for
Yeah.
himself alone. He doesn't
Well,
want
he
to
said
share
this
him.
Italy is for us first, for our people first. That's
He
what he
doesn't
said.
want to share. It's like
Yeah,
no.
he said Italy is for us first. No Italiani. That we Italians we should have first. Yeah. And all
What's an
these dusty
embarrassment?
Nigerians coming on the boat, I'm gonna deport you. He said that.
hey, he wants to get the white man for himself. He knows
For
the Nigerians
himself.
will come and ruin it for him.
It doesn't.
Yeah. What's his
Yeah,
name?
we can't
You know,
we can't be
Tony
he's a
sounds
typical
like Yoruba
Nigerian.
name. I don't know.
nah.
He's a
You can't
typical Nigerian. He's
you
scamming
can't
them.
be you can't be
He's
worried about
pretending.
this sort of people. Nah, it's not. There are a lot of Nigerians that are like this though, right? So they
Oh,
go to
okay.
the west and they have their nose up in the cloud and they walk on eggshell like everybody else is beneath them because they are parleys with the white people now. So yeah, there's a lot of them like that. That's why you see why Nigeria is so messed up. Like you have all these uh politicians that make money in Nigeria, take that money and go and build the economy of a different country. So they go and build hotels, schools, hospitals, apartment complexes that are not in Nigeria and build it in the white man's country. developing their economy. Why are people in your constituency are suffering, hungry and poor? So it's that mindset of the
I call it
colonial, yeah.
low IQ, high energy. That's how I call it.
So you work hard to get this political position, get the power, get the money, rather than develop that area. Like you travel, you see all those beautiful things in Dubai. Why not think like, why don't I build this in my own community? But no, they want to be so white so much. They want that white appreciation, white, they also want to integrate into that society and be part. Like, please, white man, like me, accept me. So that's why they do everything they can to go over there and integrate rather than build where they're coming from, which is sad at the end of the day. But he can be whatever he wants to be, walking down the street, people will still spit on him, people will still throw bananas at him, and he will never condemn the white man. It's just bug broken. It's sad.
Thank you for coming. I'm running out of time here. You've been a constant visitor to this channel. Thank you. Hope to meet you again some other time. Thank you for your contribution.
Yeah. No sweat. Have a good one. And Kaizo.
Kaizo just lives. Okay, that was a good one. Thank you everyone for coming and having your own opinion. Yeah, we're just talking about these Negropeans, or they call them Afropeans. They've got misplaced priorities. They like to do politics. And if they really want to do politics, they can do politics in their home countries, because their home countries are badly in need of good politicians. If they're going to the West to represent themselves, they should make it clear, and they don't represent Africans. We don't need this. Despite them being treated partly racism and whatever, they don't really care. So it was a nice stream. We talked about some other aspect, and it was good. I enjoyed it. Thanks everyone. Don't forget to like the stream, subscribe. We're still building. Next week we'll be talking about the structure of the Pan-African Alliance. We'll get into the structures detailedly, and we're going to tell you what we have been doing. People who have been contacting on the ground, trying to tell you how we're moving forward. Political institutions, some other people, from various countries. And when it's time, we're going to bring them, and we're going to show you what actually the PAA is doing. We want you to believe we're not just some talk show, but we're actually striving to be a political institution in Africa. We don't know where this is going to go, but we want to encourage young people to get into politics, because we really believe that's what's going to change Africa. Yeah, once again, thank you everyone. And it's been your humble host, Kifaru. Thanks for coming by.
Milongi